Chapter 1358. Gu Mingming was indeed extremely cold, so she didn't argue and directly entered the stone castle. Elvis and Leah followed closely behind. Gregory hesitated for a moment but still followed. After all, if anything happened in the snowstorm, it would be more advantageous for Gu Mingming if he was around. Cole completely didn't care about their attitudes and just acted like he was the owner. The water for the bath is ready. Agu, do you want to take a bath first or eat something first? Gu Mingming sat by the fire to warm her hands. She looked up at Cole. Congratulations on becoming a beast king. Cole smiled with his eyes squinted. He reached out his hands and said, yes, this is something worth congratulating. Agu, look, after becoming a beast king, this broken hand actually grew back. This way, no one will dare to laugh at you for having a handicapped male. Gu Mingming's gaze landed on that pair of hands. Her expression was cold. That's such a pity. I used to feel relieved every time I saw your disgusting broken hand. Cole smiled. Silly Agu, if you want to vent your anger, no matter how many times you break it, I will let you break it. Here, take it. Gu Mingming looked at the hand that Cole was offering to her. She took a step back and leaned into Elvis's arms. She looked at Cole coldly and said, I braved the wind and snow to rush back, not to talk nonsense with you. Tell me, what did you do to Qixuan? Cole shook his head regretfully and said, Agu, you are too impatient. Aren't you clearly telling me that you are worried about Qixuan and that if I want to threaten you, I will use Qixuan? Gu Mingming's face darkened. A trace of beast pressure leaked out. But Cole gestured for her to keep quiet. Your beast pressure can't kill me now, but the two of them don't look very strong. I wonder if they can withstand the beast pressure of 3 beast kings? Gu Mingming frowned. She calmed herself down and glanced at Leah. She didn't say anything else. She promised Leah that she would let him handle any problems. She would not act recklessly again. Only then did Leah give a gratified smile. He gently stroked Gu Mingming's silky hair and said, Mingming, you really did not bathe properly these few days in Moda Mountains. Since the water is ready, you can go upstairs and take a comfortable bath. I'll take care of things here, be good. Gu Mingming nodded and said, let Elvis stay behind to accompany you. Leah shook his head and hugged Gu Mingming's waist. He planted a kiss on her forehead and said, you are my Achilles heel. I can only be at ease when the strongest armor is protecting you. Gu Mingming's eyes widened. But Gu Mingming glanced at Cole. She felt that she had to guard against him. Leah chuckled. Even if Elvis is here, he can't stop the beast pressure, right? That's right, Cole was now a beast king. If he wanted to kill Leah, he just needed to release his beast pressure. Even Elvis wouldn't be able to withstand his beast pressure. Nodding, Gu Mingming kissed Leah's chin and said, then I will go up, be careful. Go. Leah returned a kiss on the top of Gu Mingming's head. Then he watched as she reluctantly followed Elvis up the stairs. Then the smile on Lee's face turned into a deceitful one. King of the Snow Fox clan, now even I can't go against your orders, right? Lee's smile turned into a mask. King of the Snow Fox clan, now even I cannot go against your orders, right? Aside, I know everyone is disgusted with Cole, but this time he came out, yeah, he couldn't do anything bad. Instead, he was prepared to be tortured. So. Chapter 1359. Cole did not deny it and looked at Gu Mingming's back view greedily. He curled his lips and said, my first order as the Fox King is for you to kill Elvis. Can you do it? Leah nodded his head in all seriousness. Then he suddenly laughed and said, you want Elvis and me to kill each other and then force Gu Mingming to break down in pain. When she is mentally weak, you will take advantage of her weakness and use the bewitching spell to control her mind and make her your puppet. Cole seemed to think that this idea was not bad. He nodded and said, yeah, Ninth Brother's idea is to my liking. But Leah waved his hands and said, it's so easy to kill Elvis and me. As long as Agu says the word, Elvis and I will definitely sacrifice our lives to kill you for her. With just you, you still dare to spout nonsense in front of me? Cole narrowed his eyes and said threateningly. But Leah looked nonchalant and said, your skills have always been above mine. You don't have to wait until you become the Beast King to kill me. You could have dug out my heart with one claw back then. Aren't you keeping me to enjoy the fun of trampling on me? After so many years of nurturing, you finally revealed your sharp claws and fangs. Are you willing to let me die so easily? Cole suddenly laughed. He pointed his finger and said with a trembling finger, in this world only Ninth Brother understands me the best. You will climb back up from where you fell. I am not surprised that you returned to solder. But, Now that the Wolf clan has migrated here, if you want to take back this territory, you will definitely have to fight the Fox clan and Wolf clan. Not to mention the difference in fighting skills between the Fox clan and the Wolf clan, they not only have Elvis the Wolf King but also Gu Mingming the Snake King. Your chances of winning are not high. Smart Alec. Cole snorted in disdain and said, Solder is a gift from me to Agu. How can I snatch back something that I have already given away? If. Leah narrowed his eyes. Cole said, why do you think those old things in the Elders' Council would listen to Agu obediently and not dare to create any trouble? Do they really think that your highness has such high prestige that you can suppress those old fellows? Leah understood and chuckled. No wonder Oakley's plot was completely crushed by you. So that's why. I see. No, that's not all. Cole walked in front of Leah and placed his newly grown hand on Lee's shoulder. Do you think the people from the 16 tribes are fools? Would you be willing to listen to that Lynx Oakley and go against me? Let me tell you, it's not like that. I was the one who bullied them while Oakley was mobilizing them, allowing the stray beasts to snatch their females or harm their children, killing their brothers and parents, forcing them to collude with Oakley. In order to give the 16 tribes to Agu, I spent so much effort to force everyone to kill me. Cole placed both hands on Lee's shoulders and pondered seriously. Tell me, what were you and Elvis doing when I was planning for Agu? Coaxing Agu to play around. In the story passed down by the messenger, the two of you should be called a demon concubine bringing disaster to the country. I am Agu's pillar of support, helping her to expand her territory. Chapter 1360. Cole did not seem to be annoyed and just nodded in agreement. That's right, pet beasts should behave like pet beasts. With your seductive figure, you should serve Agu well and make her happy every day. Because once she gets sick of you one day, I will not hesitate to torture and slaughter you, so you should work hard to win Agu's favor. That is the right thing to do. Leah laughed coldly and looked at Cole with disdain. What status are you using to say such things to me? Don't tell me you are treating yourself as Mingming's first partner? Let me remind you, my Mingming hates dirty things the most. Cole said, whatever you say. Anyway, Agu likes you now, so I will not kill you. I don't mind if you want to make a fuss. I have heard many worse things. Your level is not enough to provoke me. Leah swayed his tail and sat by the bonfire to warm his hands. If he wanted to hug Mingming after she finished her bath, his hands could not be cold. He looked at Cole from the corner of his eyes. Flesh regrown from white bones, a broken hand can grow back. You must have taken the soul of the forest from Qishuan's body? That's right. Cole admitted without reservation. Leah shook his head in exasperation. You know that Mingming hates it the most when you touch Qixin, but you still want to step on her most untouchable spot. Good luck to you. I'm afraid that you won't be able to wait until the day Mingming hates me. You'll be killed by her first. As they spoke, the sound of a door being pushed open came from upstairs. Leah thought it was Gu Mingming coming out after her bath, but he frowned when he looked up. It was not Gu Mingming but Miranda, who had walked out from the room on the far left of the corridor on the second floor. Miranda kept walking along the edge of the wall. It was a sign of extreme unease. Her eyes kept trembling as if she was losing focus. She did not know if it was because of her psychological fear or physical weakness, but her entire body was swaying, as if she would collapse at any moment if she did not support herself against the wall. She walked towards Leah blindly. You're back. I've been waiting for you. I've been waiting. Leah frowned and did not look at Miranda. Instead, he looked at Cole and said, unless the bait is Mingming, beauty traps will not work on me. Besides, Mingming has already seen through this trick. Are you still not going to give up? Cole shook his head and clicked his tongue. My ninth brother, you have wronged me. This is not a trap. This is my gift to you. Leah looked at Cole with a faint smile and did not say a word. Cole continued to explain, don't you want to quickly advance to the 5th level and activate the Beast King bloodline? Are you willing to be suppressed by that wolf for the rest of your life? Leah sneered. Don't tell me that Miranda is a wholly nourishing object and that eating her will help me level up. Cole frowned and said with a wretched expression, Ninth brother, you really don't know how to be tender towards women. Eating her will not allow you to level up, but sleeping with her will allow you to level up. Leah took a step back in disgust. Even the smile on his face could not hide his disdain. He said, then I have really let down the Fox King's good intentions. Other than Mingming, I can't get hard on other females. Chapter 1361. Because mating with her once is equivalent to fighting to the death with an orc of the same level. As Cole spoke, he walked to Miranda's side and grabbed her hair, pulling her into his arms. He stuck out his tongue and licked along Miranda's neck, stopping at her chin. He did not touch her lips and only said, "Moreover, the children she gives birth to, that is the most delicious nourishment in the beast world. Have you forgotten? Your father was only a third-level beast when he first got her. After imprisoning her for a period of time, he rose to fourth level. Then after a rainy season he rose to fifth level, a rainy season over 60 days, and the gestation period of the Snow Fox tribe is exactly 52 days. Don't you think it's a coincidence?" Lee's face was pale and his gaze was filled with indescribable depression. He had thought that his father's obsession with Miranda was because he was tricked by Cole's bewitching spell during the mass estrus period. But he did not expect that it was actually like this. Leah narrowed his eyes and said, "So, father did not die of anger because I appeared on her bed, right?" Cole laughed out loud and said, "Of course not. A fifth-level beast will die of anger? Why don't you say that he died of laughter because of you?" "So how exactly did he die?" Leah pressed on. Cole pinched Miranda's chin and said, "Come, tell your lover how his beast father died." Miranda pursed her lips and did not speak. Her eyes were filled with fear and unease. She shook her head at Leah with a pleading look, as if begging him not to ask and not to listen. But, following Cole's low growl, Miranda was pushed to the ground harshly. Like a butterfly with broken wings, she fell to the ground beside Leah in a pathetic manner. Tears streamed down her face and her entire body was trembling. Leah glanced sideways and finally looked Miranda in the eye. He said, "Tell me honestly what you know or else." Leah only glanced at her coldly and Miranda's body completely shrunk as if her soul had been sucked out. After all, no matter how Cole treated her, he could only torture her body. But Leah was someone she had liked since she was young. Even though Leah had never given her a good look, she had been looking forward to it for so many years. Countless torturous days and nights were spent thinking about Lee's face before she clenched her teeth and endured it. Some people could suffocate you just by mentioning his name. Just one look from him could make you tremble in fear. Miranda slowly closed her eyes, turned her face to the side and replied in a trembling voice, "It was me, when we were mating. I gouged out his heart." "And then?" Cole asked with a sly smile. Chapter 1362. The more Miranda spoke, the more agitated she became. In the end she completely lost control. It was as if blood was flowing out of her eyes instead of tears. She grabbed onto Leah tightly, her sharp nails digging into Lee's arms. She widened her eyes and roared with a hideous expression. "He snatched everything from me and all I wanted was you. He didn't give it to me, not give it to me, then I can only kill him, kill. Kill, kill, kill." Cole sat opposite Leah and warmed his hands. He said nonchalantly, "Miranda, didn't I tell you how a female should be liked by others?" The moment Miranda heard Cole's voice, her entire body froze. Then her facial expression started to change in a strange, uncoordinated, stiff and distorted manner. After a full 3 to 5 minutes, Miranda finally managed to control her expression. She was once again a timid and pitiful little white flower. Her voice had also become soft, as though she would be scared to tears if you coughed once. I just want to be with you. Everything I've done is to be with you." "Really?" Leah stood up from beside Miranda. He did not say anything and just walked straight upstairs. Gu Mingming's room was furthest to the right of the second floor. In the same building, no matter how good the soundproofing was, there was still a limit. Even if the two Beast Kings did not intend to eavesdrop, it was hard for them not to hear Miranda shouting so loudly. Leah pushed the door open and looked at Gu Mingming. Then he walked past her and directly stepped into the bathtub. Gu Mingming had been bathing for a long time and the water was already completely cold. Gu Mingming ran over worriedly and leaned against the side of the bathtub. She looked at Leah with her watery eyes, which were so clear that she could see the bottom. Her heart ached for him. "Leah, the water is already cold. Stop soaking in it, you will catch a cold." Lee's entire body was soaked in the water. He ignored Gu Mingming as if he wanted to drown himself. Gu Mingming was worried and wanted to reach out to pull Leah out. But before her fingertips could touch the water, Leah sat up abruptly. He reached out to grab Gu Mingming's wrist but stopped a finger's distance away. After hesitating for a long time, he slowly put his hand down and lowered his head. "The water is cold, don't touch it." "But my man is in cold water." Gu Mingming grabbed onto Lee's dangling wrist and pulled it back. Then she pressed it against her face and said, "A drenched fox is not allowed to get on the bed." Turn around and squeeze the water out, then come out and hug me, alright? Leah wanted to retract his hand, but he was greedy for the softness and warmth of his fingertips. His eyes were filled with a complicated conflict and struggle. Turning his face away, he said dejectedly, I finally convinced myself that I can stay by your side even if I'm dirty, but I didn't know that my own race was far worse than I imagined. So disgusting, why am I a snow fox? I'm so disgusted. She wanted to hug Leah but was stopped by Elvis. Elvis circled one arm around Gu Mingming's waist, while the other reached into the bathtub to pull Leah out and throw him to the side. Change your body and get rid of the water. Xiaoming just finished showering, don't get her wet again. Leah rolled around on the ground in a disheveled manner. Then, seeing how Gu Mingming was about to pounce on him without a care, he instinctively followed Elvis's instructions. Chapter 1363. You're my husband, I'm not disgusting. Gu Mingming pounced into Li's arms. Leah transformed back into his human form and hugged Gu Mingming, looking at her uneasily with his slanted eyes. Will you abandon me? I won't. Gu Mingming looked at Leah and promised solemnly, I know I often go back on my words, so you and Elvis call me a little liar, but I will never lie to you guys about this. I, Gu Mingming, only have a deceased husband, no ex-husband. Gu Mingming. Leah hesitated for a moment, but still hugged Gu Mingming tightly. I know I'm selfish, I clearly have such dirty blood flowing in my body, but I still refuse to let you off. I can do anything really. Beast pets, guardian beasts, even food. I only beg for one thing, don't abandon me. I'm not afraid of pain, I'm not afraid of death, but I'm afraid of not having you. You won't be without me, I will always be by your side. Gu Mingming pressed her face against Li's chest and said softly, humans can't choose their own birth. We can't decide who our parents are, what kind of weird relatives we have. This is our original sin, but you can't be blamed. After all, you don't have the right to reject. But those evildoers are not you. You didn't imprison Miranda, you didn't force her to mate, you didn't even eat her children like a lunatic. You're not the one who did those things, why do you have to blame yourself? Leah shook his head, I'm not blaming myself, I'm feeling inferior, you're like the sun, your whole body is glowing while I'm getting more and more unbearable. Leah, do you still remember me telling you that you're my first love? Gu Mingming's words were like a warm breeze intoxicating him. Leah nodded, I remember you said that first love is the most unforgettable and beautiful feeling. We're each other's first love. Li's words were unintentional, but Elvis, who was sitting quietly at the side, heard it. His heart sank, the word first love was like a heavy boulder smashing down on him. The last time he accompanied Gu Mingming to meet the beast deity, he met Snake from another world. He seemed to have become Xiaoming's first love in that world. This world had Leah, that world had Snake, but only he, her first partner, would never become her first love. Gu Mingming's attention was all on Leah, so she did not care about Elvis's feelings. She just laid in Li's arms gently and said, in our world there's a saying, perhaps every man has had two women like this before, at least two. If you marry a red rose, over time, the red will become a smear of mosquito blood on the wall, while the white will still be the bright moonlight in front of the bed. If you marry a white rose, the white will be a grain of rice stuck on your clothes, while the red will be a cinnabar mole on your heart. Chapter 1364. Leah knew that Gu Mingming was comforting him. He loved her so much and spent all his thoughts on her. How could he not understand the heartache in her eyes? With her heartache, Leah felt that he would be punished by the heavens if he did not pull himself together. Probing carefully, Leah confirmed for the last time. You really don't despise my tribe for being so dirty and my beast father for being so deranged? Gu Mingming poked Li's chest with a smile. The deranged one is your beast father, not you. Why should I make you jealous? Moreover, who said that the Snow Fox tribe is dirty? In my eyes, you are the cleanest and prettiest vixen. Leah finally heaved a sigh of relief. He hugged Gu Mingming's waist and asked, how pretty? Gu Mingming's mood improved when she saw Leah smiling. She tapped her chin and deliberated for a while before saying, a smile that can topple a city, another smile that can topple a country, a beauty that is unparalleled in this world. Just one look at you makes me yearn for you. I can't forget you and I think of you crazily. Leah kissed Gu Mingming's little face. I can't forget you and I think of you crazily. Looks like you are really pretty. Of course, don't you know whose husband he is? Gu Mingming held Li's handsome face and kissed him. My Leah, you still look better when you smile. That gloomy look doesn't suit you. I feel so aggrieved looking at you. If you like it, I will smile for you every day in the future. Leah replied. Gu Mingming nodded. Then she stood up. Alright, since everything is settled internally, shouldn't we go and settle the external debts? Leah also stood up. He held Gu Mingming's little hand. As long as you don't despise me, then everything that Cole has painstakingly arranged will be useless in front of me. Gu Mingming nodded. Then she reached her other hand out to Elvis. My cinnabar mole in my heart, accompany me to bully others. Cinnabar mole in her heart, Elvis chuckled. Gu Mingming had dispelled all the depression he felt because of the word, first love. Holding Gu Mingming's little hand, he said, let me do the rough work like fighting, don't rush forward, understand? Gu Mingming nodded and smiled. I know, Leah will crush him with his brain and Elvis will crush him with his physical strength. I'll just sit here and watch the show. Be good. Elvis and Leah exchanged glances and had a tacit understanding of the situation they were going to face when they went downstairs. Although they did not believe that Gu Mingming would sit there and watch the show, but, with the two of them around, she wouldn't be at a disadvantage. When he went downstairs, Miranda was hugging her knees as she curled up in a corner. She looked aggrieved as she glanced at Leah from the corner of her eyes. Leah turned a blind eye to Miranda and only guarded Gu Mingming carefully. He then took out a stone stool and covered it with beast skin for Gu Mingming to sit on. He bent one knee and half-squatted to accommodate Gu Mingming's height. The melons are gone now, but I remember that you love to eat xueling fruit. After I chase away the annoying flies, hubby will help you find some, alright? Gu Mingming had eaten the xueling fruit before when she was pregnant. Chapter 1365. No need, I don't really like it. Gu Mingming shook her head in rejection. Gregory, who had remained silent all this while, said, I know where to find it, I will help you find it. Before Gu Mingming could say no need, Gregory had already spread his wings and flew away. Gu Mingming thought it was a good idea. If they were to fight later and the three beast kings were fighting with their lives, Gregory, a third-level beast, would probably explode from the pressure. Anyway, he was used to traveling in the wind and snow and the outside might be safer for him than the stone castle. Hence, she gave up on the idea of chasing after him and just muttered, Thank you. Leah chuckled and said, He has flown far away and probably can't hear your thanks. But it doesn't matter, when he returns with the fruits, Elvis and I will use other things to exchange with him. We will not let him suffer for nothing. Gu Mingming nodded, feeling that this was better. Otherwise she would not feel at ease eating the xueling fruits. So Agu likes to eat xueling fruits. Cole looked like he understood and smiled, saying, Alright, I will order someone to help you search the entire beast world and pluck all the xueling fruits for you, alright? Gu Mingming looked up at Cole, then let out a blood-curdling howl, giving Elvis and Leah a fright. Even Cole was so shocked that he could not move. Gu Mingming pounced into Lee's arms and cried out, my eyes are going blind, how can there be such a disgusting thing in this world? Sobs, 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 it hurts my eyes. Elvis and Leah were first taken aback before they laughed. This girl, didn't she say she was just going to watch the show? Leah patted Gu Mingming's back lightly and coaxed her with a helpless tone. Alright, don't look at him if you know it hurts your eyes. What if you damage your eyes later? Gu Mingming nodded in agreement and said, Yeah, hubby is still the best looking. Come and give me a smile, I need to wash my eyes. Alright. Leah cupped Gu Mingming's face and gave her a bright and doting smile. His long and narrow eyes were filled with tenderness, as if he was looking at the most precious treasure in the world. Gu Mingming nodded in satisfaction and turned to look at Elvis. Hubby, smile? Every time Elvis saw Gu Mingming's face he would curl his lips out of reflex. Now that she asked him to smile, he froze. After being stunned for a long while, he finally forced a smile. Gu Mingming clasped her hands in front of her chest and said, So handsome. Elvis laughed out loud at Gu Mingming's teasing. He sighed helplessly and rubbed her head. Then he stood in front of Gu Mingming with Leah and used his broad back to shield her. He faced Cole and said, Are you going to scram or do I have to do it? Cole smiled and asked, You and I are both beast kings. If we were to fight, who do you think will die first? Cole's gaze landed on Lee's face, his gaze clear. Chapter 1366. Leah waved his tail nonchalantly. Cole, if you use the same trick for a long time, you will become immune to it. Qixin is already a second-level orc now. He is an adult and no longer a cub that Gu Meng needs to protect. Even if a male beast of this age dies, it is just natural selection. How long do you think you can hold Gu Meng hostage with just Qixuan? Cole nodded in agreement. One Qixuan is definitely not enough. Then, what if we add another Canwell? Oh right, out of Agu's litter of cubs, Jianghu is the one I like the most. His eyes are so similar to Agu's, making me feel pity for him. I can't help but want to press him under my body and dote on him to comfort my longing for Agu. Gu Mingming jumped up from the stool. Li's large tail swayed gently behind him, before sweeping past Gu Mingming's arm and landing in her arms. Leah was telling Gu Mingming, "Calm down, he's using psychological tactics to disturb you." Gu Mingming took a few deep breaths and forced herself to calm down. Then she hugged Li's tail and sat back on the stone stool. With Elvis and Leah between them, she and Cole could not see each other. Cole's hearing was extremely good and he could clearly hear the sound of Gu Mingming standing up in anger. It was a pity that the two eyesores in front of him stopped him, or else he would be able to see that furious little face appear in front of him. Even if it was anger and hatred, it was so beautiful when her eyes were focused on him. Slightly regretful, Cole said, "Agu, I came all the way here to help you fix your house, take care of your sons and even found supplements for Leah to level up. Aren't you going to come out and thank me?" Gu Mingming did not say a word. She just sat behind Leah and watched how Leah and Elvis would deal with Cole. Elvis took a step forward, his fangs and claws already flashing. Cole waved his hand and said, "If we were to fight, I'm afraid Sauter would be destroyed. I don't mind, but Agu's favorite Sandy and her family are still here. The newly migrated wolves and your eldest son, Huda, are still here. Is it alright if they all die? Agu will cry, right?" Elvis sneered. "You talk a lot of nonsense." As he spoke, Elvis had already attacked Cole with his claw. Cole was right. He could not kill him because Qixuan's life was tied to Cole's. Although he did not care about Qixuan's life, Gu Mingming did. Elvis would never do anything that would upset Gu Mingming. However, killing was not the only way to torture people. Elvis's moves were very sharp and left no room for maneuver. Since Cole was also a beast king now, it would not be easy to kill him. He could only remain invincible if he gave it his all. And Elvis and Li's motive was to obtain his soul of the forest. As long as they could snatch Cole's soul of the forest, they would no longer have to look for the spirit of the rocky cliffs. Furthermore, they also wanted to see if Cole could grow a new one after losing the soul of the forest and having his limbs broken. Chapter 1367. While the two Beast Kings were locked in a fierce battle, Miranda, who had been curled up in a corner, crawled to Li's feet along the wall. She grabbed onto Li's ankle while Li's attention was on Elvis and Cole's battle. Leah felt his ankle being touched. As he lowered his head, he had already retreated backwards. But Miranda did not loosen her grip. Because of Li's strength, her entire body was dragged along the ground for a long distance, but her grip did not loosen at all. She raised her tear-stained face and begged bitterly, "Aya, I know you are already mated, but I don't mind. Even if you lock me in a secret chamber for the rest of my life, I am willing. I will be a very good tool for you to level up. As long as you mate with me, you will be able to level up to the 5th level very quickly. That way you will be able to protect your females better, right? So don't push me away anymore. Just treat me as a tool and have me properly, alright?" Gu Mingming was really speechless. Weren't the females in the beast world all spoiled and willful? Although Nina was the more exaggerated type, Gu Mingming swore that she had never seen a female who could compromise so much like Miranda. She was even more extreme than those shameless mistresses in the modern world. She really dared to say anything just to climb into Li's bed. Gu Mingming stood up and walked to Leah. She stepped on Miranda's wrist and said, "Seducing my man right in front of me. You really don't want your pair of claws anymore." With that, Gu Mingming exerted force with her foot. The sound of bones being crushed rang out, followed by Miranda's tragic cries. Miranda's wrist was crushed by Gu Mingming's foot. The hand that was grabbing onto Li's ankle naturally let go due to the pain. Leah took the opportunity to pull his foot out and carry Gu Mingming up. "How could you step on her? Feeling heartache?" Gu Mingming looked at Leah coldly. Leah nodded. "How can I not feel heartache? What if the bone fragments pierced into the sole of my foot? Moreover, those bones are so hard. Aren't you afraid of your foot being crushed? And blood so dirty, TSK, how many times have I said this? Let me and Elvis do this kind of vulgar words. You always refuse to listen." As Leah spoke, he placed Miranda back on the stone bench and casually pulled out a piece of inferior beast skin to cover Miranda, who was rolling on the ground. Then he picked her up and threw her to the corner of the wall. "If you come near me and my Gu Mingming again, I will throw you into a bonfire and make you into a barbecue. Miranda was in so much pain that she could not hear what Leah was saying. She could only roll around in the corner. Leah could not be bothered to say more to her. He just took out a stone basin and placed it on the fire to boil some hot water. After the water was warm enough, he started to wash her feet. This scene was a little strange. The two Beast Kings did not unleash their beast pressure and were holding kitchen knives to chop the electric wires, killing each other with sparks and lightning. Meanwhile, Leah was waving his large furry tail and calmly washing Gu Mingming's feet. Gu Mingming looked up at the battle between Elvis and Cole. Elvis's attacks were all killer moves, but Cole was like a loach. He did not even fight Elvis head-on. Instead, he dodged and dodged whenever he could. He was clearly exhausting Elvis's energy. Chapter 1368. Leah washed Gu Mingming's little feet and wiped them dry with a beast's skin. He then took out a new pair of boots for her to wear before saying, "All right, sit down obediently." Gu Mingming nodded. Leah then waved his large tail and stood in front of Gu Mingming, saying softly, "The mighty Fox King did not come to Sauter just to compete with the Wolf Clan, right?" Cole chuckled and pulled back. Elvis stopped attacking at the same time and also took a step back. He returned to Gu Mingming's side and stood beside Leah, blocking Gu Mingming completely, not allowing Cole to see a single bit of her. Elvis and Cole's earlier trembling was mostly to test each other. Even though Leah had washed Gu Mingming's feet in the middle, he still had a clear grasp of the general situation. At the level of a Beast King, the difference between races was already negligible. It was impossible for Elvis to suppress Cole alone, but Elvis was not the only Beast King on their side, so they still had the right to speak. Cole stood with his hands behind his back and said, "Leah, move aside." Lee's body went limp and he knelt to the side. He struggled to stand up, but he could not muster any strength at all. Gu Mingming remembered this scene. When the mark on the back of her neck had just changed, Wabi was also like this. Gu Mingming jumped up from the stool to support Leah. She glanced sideways at Cole and said coldly, "Cole, kneel down." The moment Gu Mingming said that, Cole indeed knelt down. This made Elvis, who had intended to attack Cole, pause. He stood back at his original spot without saying a word. Cole was also a little surprised. He wanted to stand up, but he could not muster any strength. Gu Mingming helped Leah up and let him sit on the little stone stool that she was originally on. Then she stood at the side and gently hugged Lee's shoulders, letting him lean into her arms. Elvis stood behind Gu Mingming, finally allowing Gu Mingming and Cole to look at each other. Gu Mingming laughed coldly and said, "Do you understand now? Even if you are a Beast King, you are nothing in front of me." Of course. Cole seemed to especially admire Gu Mingming's darkened look. His face was filled with unconcealable joy and admiration. Gu is the highest existence in this world. I, Cole, am just a speck of dust under your feet. Gu Mingming completely ignored Cole's disgusting fawning and only stared at him coldly. "What did you do to my son?" Cole shook his head and said, "The young lords are all in a very safe place under my protection." Gu Mingming sneered. "Why does my son need your protection? Who do you think you are?" Cole gazed deeply at Gu Mingming and said gently, "Gu, have you never thought about how big of an impact Elvis would have on the beast world when he used the heart of the desert to activate the Beast King bloodline?" Gu Mingming frowned and did not reply. The love of the sky and spirit of the rocky cliffs that have yet to appear are protected by the beast god's enchantment. No one other than you can obtain them. The tear of the beast god and the heart of the desert were in the hands of the two Beast Kings, so no one dared to covet them. The key of the Beast King had yet to appear, so naturally no one dared to hope for it. Then the remaining two treasures. Gu Mingming paused and her heart turned cold. Cole understood that Gu Mingming had figured out the crux of the matter. He continued, "I know that you once said, an innocent man gets into trouble because of his wealth. I feel that it is most suitable to be used on Qixuan." Digression. Why was Cole so intimidated by Gu Mingming? The reason was very simple. Gu Mingming had dug out Bai An's heart. Let's put it this way. If you killed a tiger with your bare hands and hung the tiger's heart on your neck, I can guarantee that no stray dog in your neighborhood would dare to come near you. Dan Fan who met your eyes would all run away. It was the same reason. Chapter 1369. He was just a second-level orc, but he had two treasures that could make the entire beast world go crazy. That was like throwing a fat piece of meat into the wolf's den. Gu Mingming frowned. She was really too careless. As a mother, Why didn't she consider what kind of trouble Qixin would land himself in because of her decision? Cole continued. So, I took the soul of the forest from Qixuan's glabella just to divert the attention from Qixin. After all, killing a wandering fox king like me is much more justifiable than killing the messenger of the beast deity and the wolf king's son. Not only would I obtain the treasure that could activate the beast king bloodline, I wouldn't have to worry about the messenger and the wolf king settling the score. I am doing this for little Xian's sake. How can you be angry at me? Leah leaned into Gu Mingming's arms. Although he was in a state where he could not exert any strength, he did not look pathetic at all. Instead, he exuded a seductive charm. In contrast, Cole, who was forced to kneel on the ground by Gu Mingming, looked even more pathetic. Leah spoke softly. The Fox King's silver tongue can really distort right and wrong. You took the soul of the forest from Qixuan's glabella to protect him? Ah, forget it. Just like what Gu Mingming said, we are all vixens. You can't play strange stories from a Chinese studio in front of me. Leah wanted to stand up but failed. He still could not exert any strength, so he could only sit there and hold Gu Mingming's hand gently, indicating to her not to be affected by Cole. Gu Mingming smiled and held Lee's hand back. Only then did Leah feel at ease. You obtained the soul of the forest and activated the Beast King bloodline. Isn't this announcing to the beast world that as long as you snatch that pearl from Qixin, you can activate the Beast King bloodline just like you? Are you protecting him or pushing him into the teeth of the storm? Cole rubbed his nose and laughed helplessly. I really can't explain myself. Raising his head, Cole looked straight into Gu Mingming's eyes and said, I don't mind if Agu hates me, but I will not be the scapegoat. I did not snatch the soul of the forest, it was little Xian who schemed against me and forced it on me. Gu Mingming was so angry that she laughed. She looked at Cole coldly and said, Are you telling me that it was Qixin who cried and begged you to accept the soul of the forest to activate the Beast King bloodline and then went against me? Cole nodded in acknowledgement. Gu Mingming let out a long sigh and said, Can you be more reliable when you're spouting nonsense? Cole sighed. Qixin took the opportunity when I was not around to instigate Kanwu to lead his men to take over the territory of the stray beasts camp. Do you know about this? Gu Mingming did not respond and just stared coldly at Cole. Cole could tell from Gu Mingming's expression that she knew. Thus, she continued, I went to see Qixin after I returned, hoping that he would hand over the territory of the stray beast camp. After all, he is your precious son. Even if I don't give him face, I have to give him face. I have to be polite before resorting to force. But little Xian told me that there was a fruit that you liked to eat in the stray beasts camp. So he was determined to get that territory and would not return it. But in order to keep the peace, he was willing to give me the soul of the forest to help me activate the Beast King bloodline. That way, I would not have to flee at the mere sight of you and not dare to go near you. This was too tempting for me, so I agreed. Chapter 1370. Cole looked at Gu Mingming's expression and gave a bitter smile helplessly. He ruffled his hair and said, Little Xian really guessed it right. Don't believe a single word I said. The trick I used on you in the past was used by Xian once again. He used it better than me and was more ruthless than me. From the looks of it now, it can be said that the student has surpassed his predecessor. Forget it, I'll take the blame for this. Just treat it as me forcefully snatching Xian's soul of the forest and pushing him into a dangerous situation. But now that I have protected him, can this be considered as making up for my mistake? Return my sons to me. Gu Mingming said coldly. Cole smiled and said, Gu, if I return them to you, can you take care of them? I heard that you have to go to the Moda Mountains to retrieve the love of the sky during the dry season and then reproduce for ninth brother. You are so busy, do you still have time to take care of little Xian? Gu Mingming said expressionlessly, What does it have to do with you? Cole maintained his kneeling position and looked up at Gu Mingming. Gu, of course I have to protect your weakness so that you will not be threatened by others. Gu Mingming said, You are the only one in the entire beast world who dares to use my sons to force me. Cole smiled and nodded as if he had been awarded a Good Citizen award. He said with a face full of honor, Others use your weakness to threaten you to make use of you or hurt you. But I have everyone in my hands to guide you to the correct path. Gu Mingming said, You and I have different paths. The correct path in your eyes is definitely not the one I want to take. With that, Gu Mingming handed Leah to Elvis and walked to Cole's side. She squatted down and looked at him at eye level. You dare to wait for me here because you think you are already a beast king and don't need to be afraid of me, right? Cole did not say anything and just looked at Gu Mingming with a face full of bliss. This was one of the few times she took the initiative to approach him. Gu Mingming continued. But don't forget, even if you become a beast king, you are still a lowly stray beast deep down. And unfortunately, I have become the master of the stray beasts for some unknown reason. So, you should be afraid of me. You should hide in the gutter as usual, and flee the moment you smell me in the air. That way you might be able to keep your lowly life. Because I'm someone you can't afford to offend. With that, Gu Mingming's fingers pressed into Cole's right chest. That was where she had dug a hole. Gu Mingming knew that the soul of the forest was there. She reached her palm into Li's chest and stirred his flesh and blood. She felt the soul of the forest but did not take it out directly. Gu Mingming laughed coldly. Return my sons to me and you can continue being the beast king. Otherwise, I wonder what will happen to a person who stands at the peak and falls down? Alright, I'll return it. Cole endured the excruciating pain in his chest and maintained his sinister smile. Gu Mingming retracted her hand from Cole's chest and turned to walk to Li's side. She looked back at Cole and said, Also, I don't like it when someone acts like a beast king in front of my man. Don't forget you the king are under my feet. Chapter 1371. Leah held Gu Mingming's little hand and frowned, sighing softly. How many times have I told you? Don't dirty your own hands? Gu Mingming looked at her bloodied hands and pouted, her face full of disdain. Elvis had already brought a basin of hot water down, then carried Gu Mingming out of Li's arms and placed her on his chest. Leah then dipped the animal skin in the basin in the water, carefully washing Gu Mingming's hands. Meanwhile, the wound on Cole's chest was healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. His eyes were fixated on Gu Mingming without blinking. Gu Mingming glanced sideways at Cole and said, Now that you know your own capabilities, don't provoke me again. Qishuan's life is tied to you, so I won't kill you. But I don't mind experimenting with the Qing dynasty's 10 greatest tortures on you, making you wish you were dead. If you're smart, hurry and return my son to me, then disappear from my sight. Agu. Gu Mingming glared coldly at Cole, who had just regained some strength, but he instantly knelt down again. Gu Mingming chuckled. I've said before, I don't like you calling me that disgusting way. Cole smiled without saying a word. He just looked at Gu Mingming quietly, as if he was admiring Gu Mingming's sinister expression and thought it was extremely beautiful. Gu Mingming took a deep breath and kept telling herself not to be calculative with a pervert. Never try to understand what a pervert was thinking. Leah pinched Gu Mingming's little chin. Don't dirty your hands again after you've just washed them clean, understand? Gu Mingming nodded and did not say another word. She just nestled in Elvis's arms and did not look at Cole anymore. Leah walked to Cole while wagging his tail. He reached out to help Cole up. Great Fox King, please don't blame us. Our little female is used to being willful. Cole narrowed his eyes and curled his lips coldly. He did not say a word. Agu was his. A mere loser dared to act like a male owner in front of him? Overestimating himself. Brushing Li's hand away, Cole maintained his usual demeanor and arrogance as the city lord of Sauter. Of course I won't be angry with Agu. Whatever Agu does in my eyes, it's all good. Leah continued to smile appropriately, elegant yet distant. He said mildly, Then, may I ask Fox King, when do you intend to return my cub? Cole looked past Leah and at Gu Mingming, replying, On the day winter ends, I will return Agu's 3 sons. Right now it's snowing heavily. Level 1 orcs and level 2 orcs can't walk in the snow. Leah nodded. Great Fox King is very thoughtful. We shall do as you say. Cole was on his guard against Li's humble attitude. There were many old and new grudges between them, and Leah should not be speaking to him with such an attitude. Leah didn't seem to notice Cole's scrutinizing gaze. He just grinned and said, Then may I know if the Fox King has any other instructions for this visit? Cole smiled and said, So what if I do? So what if I don't? Leah said, If there is, please tell me. If not, then my little female needs to rest, please leave. Cole asked, What if I don't leave? Chapter 1372. Cole's expression froze as if something had suddenly cleared up in his mind. That's right, why did Qishen beat around the bush? He gave him the soul of the forest and purposely provoked him to come to Sauter to look for Gu Mingming. Was it just to make Gu Mingming hate him? No, that fellow would never do such a senseless thing. Could it be? Cole stood up and dashed into the snowstorm without looking back. He swaggered off. Gu Mingming looked at Leah in confusion. This Could it be that Qixuan really schemed against him? Would it spoil Qixuan's plans if we let him go like this? Should I let him stay for a little longer to buy some time for Qixuan? Leah shook his head and chuckled. He looked at the snowstorm and said, Gu, although I don't want to admit it, Cole has really taught Qixuan well. Among the 4 children, he is probably the one you don't need to worry about the least. What do you mean? Gu Mingming didn't understand. Leah waved his tail and returned to Gu Mingming's side. Don't worry, Qixuan will be fine. And after this incident, Cole will probably be busy with his own matters and won't have the time to find trouble with you. You mean he will turn around to deal with Qixuan? Leah nodded. It was Qixuan who caught Cole's tail and forced him to turn around to deal with him. Just based on this trick, I dare to conclude that Qixuan is definitely not someone who can be manipulated by others. He has the ruthlessness of the wolf tribe and the cunning of the fox tribe. He has also learned many things from you that he never had in the beast world. Even if he can't win Cole, Cole can't do anything to him. Your concern for him is his life-saving charm. Cole will never kill him in order to restrain you. This is his undefeatable bargaining chip. I guess that Cole has not only captured Qixuan but also Kanwu and Jianghu. He must be trying to use those 2 brothers to counter Qixuan. Leah seemed to have thought of an interesting situation. He chuckled and continued. But Cole seems to have forgotten something important. Qixuan was groomed by him and will not lose to anyone when it comes to heartlessness. It's impossible to deal with Qixuan in the same way he dealt with you. Moreover, that fellow Jianghu did not give it away for nothing. Cole did not manage to catch Huda because Jianghu hid Huda in advance. That means... Gu Mingming looked at Li's meaningful gaze and tried to follow his train of thought. Then she said, Qixuan and the other 3 brothers had long communicated with each other and knew that this day would come. Jianghu purposely allowed himself to be captured. The 4 of them purposely cooperated to lure him into the trap. Leah nodded. Smart. So you purposely insisted on staying in the Moda Mountains for a month, just to keep Cole here for a month? Gu Mingming tilted her head and asked. Chapter 1373. So what is he trying to do? Gu Mingming felt as if her 3 rascals were about to head to Syria with nail clippers. She said worriedly, 2 second-level beasts and 1 first-level beast, the 3 of them are not enough to defeat Cole. Why don't we go and help him? Leah shook his head and patted Gu Mingming's shoulder lightly. He smiled. If Qixuan wanted us to help, he would have told us the last time he came. But, before he left, he told me that he was worried that there would be too many people in St. Nazir and there would not be enough prey for everyone, so he prepared a portion of food for the mother beast in Zacharias. But seeing how well prepared you all are, there should not be any need for it. Just in case, I will tell you that if there is not enough food, you can go to Zacharias to get more. Gu Mingming blinked. What's wrong with that sentence? Doesn't it just sound like a normal instruction? Leah chuckled. That's what I thought at first too. But now that I think about it, Elvis can't wait to move all the prey in the forest back to the stone castle. Even a family of more than 10 people like Sandy would have enough food to last an entire winter. We only have 3 people in our family. Would there be a situation where there is not enough food and we have to go to Zacharias to get more? Gu Mingming glanced at Elvis's food storage room. Winter was already half over, but not even a 5th of the food had been consumed. She shook her head. I don't think so. Leah nodded. So, what Qixuan meant was to tell me that if anything happens in Sauter, you can head to Zacharias. There is food prepared for you there and it can help you survive this winter safely. But, what could happen that would be so serious that you have to migrate in the middle of winter? Gu Mingming was silent for a moment. Her gaze landed on Miranda. The collective estrus of the snow foxes. Leah nodded again. But Qixuan is a wolf. How would he know about the secret of the snow foxes going into estrus? How would he even know the exact time? Gu Mingming bit her lower lip. Cool. Leah pinched Gu Mingming's little nose. Smart. Then. So what does that rascal want? Gu Mingming was confused. Leah said, gather all the information we have. Cole wouldn't mention the snow foxes going into estrus to Qixuan for no reason, so sending Miranda over was probably one of his plans. As for his motive, just like what he said, he wanted to make use of the snow foxes going into estrus to make me lose control and have sex with Miranda. This way I will find that mating with her can increase my battle value. I want to quickly become stronger so that I can better protect you. Humans are always lazy. Once there is an easy way to become stronger, they can't help but sink into it. And at that time, you will definitely think that I am dirty and abandon me. In this way, Cole can enjoy my misery while tormenting you, and at the same time, achieve some of his hidden motives. Gu Mingming gritted her teeth and looked at Miranda with an increasingly cold gaze. Tugging at Li's arm, he said, "When Gregory returns, let him throw this Miranda onto the Moda Mountains first. I don't want to see her." Chapter 1374. Gu Mingming took 2 deep breaths to calm herself down. She looked at Leah, waiting for him to continue his analysis. Leah played with Gu Mingming's fingers as he said nonchalantly, "Qixuan must have found out about this through some means, so he set up a trap. It's just that Qixuan's trap has not been fully developed, so I don't know what his exact plans are. Based on the current information, I can only deduce that he wants to use the 1-month gap between Cole waiting for you and Sauter to do something, and I feel that Gregory's return during winter to guard Sauter should have something to do with Qixuan." Gu Mingming held her head and shook her head, saying, "Do you think Qixuan has entered the rebellious phase? How dare he tie his legs to the gas tank?" Leah hugged Gu Mingming and comforted her softly, "Don't worry too much. Thinking about how Qixuan could use the soul of the forest to bewitch Cole and lure him to Sauter for a month, you can tell that this child is not simple. If he has any ulterior motives, even I will fall into his trap. Moreover, Jianghu is working with him at the side. Just like what you said, when the brothers are of one heart, their strength can cut through metal. The worst outcome would be them falling into Cole's hands, but Cole would not dare to kill them." Gu Mingming sighed and said, "We can only wait now. Cole promised to return the 3 brothers to me after winter ends, if he dares to go back on his words." Leah knew that Gu Mingming could not say kill him. It was not that she could not bear to part with Cole, but she could not bear to part with Qixuan. Leah chuckled and said, "I am more interested in the 10 greatest tortures of the Qing dynasty you mentioned just now. Why don't you tell me about it? Let me see if there are any that can be modified to be used on Cole." Gu Mingming was worried about her 3 sons and was filled with resentment towards Cole. Hence, she described the 10 greatest tortures of the Qing dynasty vividly through gritted teeth. Miranda, who was standing at the side, was so shocked that her eyes almost popped out. She did not dare to make a sound even though her wrist was in excruciating pain. Miranda started to feel terrified for the first time when she saw Leah, whom she thought was perfect, cooperating with Gu Mingming's words with a smile and even looking eager to try. The perfect male in her heart was far more sinister and vicious than the old man who had imprisoned her. Those torturing methods that she had never seen or heard of before, she could imagine the scene just by listening. No wonder Leah did not save her at that time. Compared to what Gu Mingming was saying, her days as a prisoner were too blissful. That night, Gregory returned to the stone castle with 2 bags of Xueling fruits. As Gu Mingming ate the Xueling fruits, she asked Gregory if he had said anything to Qixuan in private before winter. Gregory thought that Gu Mingming was asking about Cole and did not dare to beat around the bush. He directly told Gu Mingming that Qixuan had told him about Burke and that protecting her silently was also a form of love. Even if he could not get anything in return, he could at least do something for her. It was better than waiting day after day in vain and wasting his life waiting for a miracle that would never happen. Gu Mingming and Leah exchanged glances and thought to themselves that it was indeed Qixuan's doing for Gregory to guard Sauter during winter. This son really could not be underestimated. Chapter 1375. Unexpectedly, Miranda did not pester Leah anymore. Instead, she eagerly expressed her willingness to go to Mota Mountains without waiting for winter to end. She said that she was a snow fox and could endure a few days' journey. Although Gu Mingming did not know that she had frightened Miranda with her vivid description of the 10 greatest tortures of the Qing dynasty because she was venting her hatred towards Cole, Gu Mingming was glad that Miranda did not pester Leah anymore. Hence, she took an empty wine barrel and even kindly covered it with a few layers of beast skin. She let Miranda crawl into the wine barrel and Gregory carried her back to Mota Mountains. Gu Mingming looked at Miranda, who was standing in the wine barrel with a face full of anxiety. She sighed and said, "No matter how capable Cole is, he cannot fly to the sky. So you are relatively free and safe on Mota Mountains. Although the weather there is rather bad, as long as you treat your partners well, they will not let you suffer. But there is one thing you must remember. The birds are the most loyal followers of the beast deity. If you dare to create any trouble on Mota Mountains, I will not let you off." Miranda was already scared out of her wits by Gu Mingming. She shook her head and said, "I will definitely live a peaceful life on Mota Mountains. I will not leave the mountains until I die. Great messenger, please don't worry." Gu Mingming nodded and said, "That's for the best." Miranda nodded vigorously and said, "I will listen to you obediently. I will definitely listen to you. Gu Mingming glanced at Miranda's broken wrist and said, "Don't blame me for being ruthless. But I really don't like others touching my mails." Miranda instinctively put her hands behind her back and nodded obediently. "I know. Great Messenger has already shown me mercy and is exceptionally merciful." That's right, she didn't even use any moves like grooming, cooking, skinning, carving, or death by 1,000 cuts to deal with her. She only stepped on her wrist and that was already very merciful. Gu Mingming did not understand Miranda's sudden gratitude, but she did not have the time to find out. She just watched as Gregory left. Winter passed quietly as Gu Mingming looked forward to it day after day. When the snow sealing the windows finally shattered, Gu Mingming's heart finally brightened up. Elvis carried Gu Mingming out of the stone castle and headed straight for the deity altar. There was a chair on the altar which was Gu Mingming's exclusive seat. It symbolized her divine authority and could not be violated. This was the first hunt after winter since Elvis became the Wolf King. No matter what, he could not be careless. So even though Gu Mingming was concerned about the children, she did not show it on her face. She just followed the rules and looked at the females in the tribe one by one, asking them how many cubs they had this winter. In the end, Lacey from the Snow Fox tribe gave birth to 9 cubs and became the female with the most cubs for 2 consecutive years. Gu Mingming conferred the title of the first beauty of the tribe. Although there were many females in the Sauter tribe now, they were all sincerely convinced by this result. After all, who could be blamed if your stomach was not as good as hers? During the night campfire party, the 16 tribes came out on top. During the small rainy season, the Wolf tribe came out on top. Now that Lacey relied on her stomach to fight for the Snow Fox tribe, the 3 parties were now in a one-on-one situation. So, the next round of hunting undoubtedly became a competition. Chapter 1376. The females sat around the deity altar as usual, while Leah stayed by Gu Mingming's side, gentle and focused, as if he could not see anything else other than Gu Mingming. Sauter was different from Saint Nazir. Other than the witch doctor, there was no need to hunt here. The elders also did not participate in the first hunt, partly because they were old, and partly because they were proud of their nobility, unwilling to do those barbaric jobs. So the elders stood on the first level, closest to Gu Mingming. He looked up at Leah as if he had something to say but did not dare to. Thinking about it, Gu Mingming's display of power over Miranda last year was enough, so they did not dare to spout nonsense in front of Gu Mingming now. "Elder Eugene, why do you keep looking at my Leah like that?" Gu Mingming expressed her displeasure. If he had something to say, he might as well say it directly. At least she could retort if he said it directly. He kept glancing at her as if she owed him money and he did not dare to ask for it. How annoying. Elder Eugene cleared his throat and said, "The first hunt concerns the offerings offered to the beast deity. It is an important ceremony for Sauter to express its loyalty to the beast deity, so I think that the 9th Highness should participate in the hunt. With the 9th Highness around, the Snow Fox clan will definitely be motivated and perform better." "Oh?" Gu Mingming chuckled and interrupted Eugene's words. She looked at him coldly and said, "You are afraid that Elvis will lead the Wolf clan in the first hunt again, so you want to use Leah as a mascot to boost morale, so that the Snow Fox clan can compete with the Wolf clan, right?" Elder Eugene's face froze. He felt a little guilty after his thoughts were exposed. After all, he had already offended Gu Mingming once because of Miranda. If it was not necessary, he really did not want to have a conflict with Gu Mingming. But helplessly, his name was called out. However, Elder Eugene did not know that Gu Mingming only knew the faces of the elders, but could not remember most of their names. This Elder Eugene's performance was too outstanding during the Miranda incident, so she remembered his name. So all the elders were looking at Leah, but Gu Mingming only called out his name. Gu Mingming sneered and leaned lazily into Lee's arms, saying, "But doesn't your Fox clan have a beast king? If you want to raise our morale, why don't you go look for your beast king? Ever since I came to Sauter, didn't all of you just follow your beast king's instructions and brush me off? Don't tell me you can't find him now." When the elders heard this, their faces immediately turned green. They had already confirmed that the Fox clan had a beast king during the winter. But it was hard to tell whether the beast king was happy or angry. He had always been going against the messenger of the beast deity, but he did not allow others to betray her or defy her. He would kill anyone who angered her. This made the group of elders very helpless and they did not know what to do to comply with the beast king's wishes. Now that Gu Mingming mentioned this matter, she must be angry, right? If she were to get angry, the wrath of the Beast King might descend upon them. Thinking of this, the few old fellows trembled as they lowered their bodies and knelt together. The females of the Snow Fox clan were just as afraid as the elders. Their faces were pale and they lowered their heads guiltily. Their fingertips and hair were trembling slightly. Chapter 1377. Previously in Saint Nazaire she had impregnated Maya, but Gu Mingming had immediately noticed that there was something wrong with Maya's body scent. Moreover, Saint Nazaire only had Leah as a snow fox. Once Maya gave birth, Gu Mingming would immediately notice that something was wrong. But Sauter was different. There were only snow foxes here, and the purity of the fox's seductive fragrance was so high when they were in heat. Gu Mingming could not smell anything from the females, and it would be normal for them to give birth to snow foxes in the future. Gu Mingming could not tell which child was Cole's. Damn it, what was Cole trying to do? Gu Mingming's brain worked furiously, but her face remained expressionless. She just smiled faintly. Don't panic, don't be afraid. Although I am the messenger of the beast deity, I do not have the right to stop you from following your beast king. Following the beast king is the innate nature of the beast. I will not do something so inhumane and force you to not get close to Cole. It's just that. I can't be fickle, eating from the boss's grain and sleeping in the West's bed. Listening to Cole's arrangements, you want to make use of my man to help you gain face. You guys have taken all the advantages in this world, you can't be so greedy, you will be punished by the heavens. Agu is right. A familiar voice came from the crowd. Gu Mingming looked over and saw Cole returning with Qixin, Kanwu and Jiaoyu. The four of them were in a strange state. They did not seem to be at each other's throats. Instead, they looked like an elder who had just returned from an outing with his 3 children. Gu Mingming instinctively sat up straight, her gaze fixed on her 3 sons. Only after confirming that they were not injured or crippled did the suffocating feeling in her chest dissipate. Greetings to the mighty Beast King. The elders of the Snow Fox clan were already kneeling on the ground. Now even the females were kneeling down, paying their respects to Cole. Cole ignored them. He just stood in front of the deity altar and made a gesture of invitation. Young master, please return to your mother's side. Don't let her worry. Qixin and his brothers also ignored Cole. They just leaped onto the deity altar and walked to Gu Mingming's side. They held her hands. Mother, we are back. Gu Mingming had a stomach full of questions but did not say a single word. She just nodded and smiled. Cole turned around and directly knelt in front of everyone. He bowed to Gu Mingming and said, "Your subordinate Cole leads the Snow Fox clan to pay his respects to the great messenger." Gu Mingming glanced sideways, wondering what Cole was up to again. Qixin patted Gu Mingming's arm, gesturing with his eyes for her to accept Cole's worship. Gu Mingming did not understand and turned to look at Leah. Leah gave Gu Mingming a smiling look, indicating for her to trust Qixin. Hence, Gu Mingming unwillingly replied, "Yeah." Qixin then shook Gu Mingming's arm in a coquettish manner, as if he was begging Gu Mingming to put up a good front. Gu Mingming sighed and pulled the corners of her lips into a smile. "Great Fox King, please get up." Chapter 1378. We will obey Lord Beast King's orders. The Snow Fox clan is loyal to Lord Messenger. Heaven and earth can testify. The continuous shouts of oaths were quite inspiring, as if everyone knew something. Only Gu Mingming, who was being pledged loyalty to, was dumbfounded, not knowing what was happening. Lord Fox King, since the elders of the Snow Fox clan are so concerned about this first hunt, why don't you join in the fun and see if you can boost their morale and defeat our wolf clan? Qixin stood beside Gu Mingming, smiling like an innocent child. But his words made the few old foxes from the Snow Fox clan turn green. No, no. The old foxes objected one after another. What kind of joke was this? Elvis and the rest had already walked for half a day and the distance between them had already widened. The 2 Beast Kings were equally powerful, but the Snow Fox clan was not as powerful as the Wolf clan, so it was impossible for them to overtake the Wolf clan. If they let Cole go now and the Wolf clan won, wouldn't that mean that the Snow Fox clan was not a match for the Wolf clan? Even with the Beast King they still lost. In the future they would definitely be suppressed by the wolves. They had to design a situation where they could win for sure before sending the Beast King up. They definitely could not let Cole lose to Elvis in his first battle. Qixin blinked his eyes and tilted his head in confusion. Didn't you just say to let my daddy Leah raise the morale? How could a mere 9th Highness be as inspiring as a Beast King? I'm doing this for your own good. Why don't you agree? This. The elders were speechless. He couldn't possibly say that pushing Leah out to raise the morale of the people was just a pretense and that the real motive was to push all the blame to him when they lost, right? It would be best if he could intensify the family conflict between Leah and Elvis, causing Leah to be dissatisfied with Elvis. This way he would be more reliant on the power of the Snow Fox clan and recognize his own identity. He would not put his family first in everything but place the emphasis on his race first. Because only when his race was strong could he have a dominant position in his family. Moreover, he had to make Leah unhappy with Elvis first so that he could incite him to plot something in the future to get rid of Elvis and replace him. The first partner of the messenger of the beast deity should have been from the Snow Fox clan. This was his true motive, but he couldn't say it out loud. The elders looked at each other, speechless. Qixin looked at Gu Mingming. Gu Mingming placed one hand on the back of the chair and rested her chin on her palm. She looked at Qixin and said, "Since the Fox King is here, wouldn't it be a waste if we don't show off our skills? Although the werewolves have set off for a while now, they definitely have the advantage in terms of the overall number of prey. It would be unfair to let you join now." That's right, the elder said. Gu Mingming glanced at him from the corner of her eyes and he immediately kept quiet, not daring to say another word. Gu Mingming then continued, "For the sake of fairness, let's not compete for the most this year but the biggest? In the end, the person who provides the sacrifice to the beast deity will be the winner. Isn't this fair?" Cole placed his right hand on his left chest and bowed towards Gu Mingming like a European knight swearing his loyalty. Then he smiled and said, "I don't care if it's fair or not. As long as it's something that Master wants me to do, I will do it. Lord, your beast yin yang is the hunt. This as is your hunting beast Li, is Wu. I beast." Chapter 1379. Your subordinate will obey. Cole bowed and turned to leave, heading towards the direction where the males had set off for the hunt. The elders were so anxious that they looked at Leah and asked, "Your Ninth Highness, this?" Leah waved his tail and said, "Since the mighty Fox King is here, how can I, a mere Ninth Highness, be in charge of the tribe's matters? All the elders can just follow the Fox King." Sigh. The elders paced around and finally whispered to each other before following Cole's footsteps towards the direction of the hunt. Gu Mingming yawned and said, "There will not be any results until night time. Females, go back to your own homes and the results will naturally be revealed during the night campfire party." Yes. None of the females dared to act rashly in front of Gu Mingming and naturally followed whatever she said. Leah carried Gu Mingming back to the stone castle and the three little ones exchanged glances before following behind him obediently. The moment they entered the house, Gu Mingming immediately turned around and placed her hands on her hips, activating the mode of facing your mother when you fail to advance in the examinations. Seeing this, Jianghu gave Kanwu a push and he immediately knelt down without a word. Pinching his ears with both hands he said, "Mother, I know I was wrong." Before Gu Mingming could question him, Kanwu's kneeling made Gu Mingming speechless. Gu Mingming poked Kanwu's head and said, "A man's knees are worth gold, who allowed you to kneel? Get up." Kanwu raised his head and said innocently, "The last time I saw Bode teach a father beast, he said that if a female gets angry, she will not be angry if he kneels down and admits his mistake." Gu Mingming facepalmed. This was the lousy trick Bode taught Elvis when she chased Leah and Elvis out of the cave and forbade them from returning home. The four little ones were indeed present at that time, but it had been more than 2 years. These four were still buns then. Jesuke, why did he keep remembering these useless things instead of important matters? Mother, it's like this. This time, Qixin was the mastermind and I was an accomplice. Kanwu did not know the details and only followed because he did not want Qixin and I to take the risk alone. Since his fault was the lightest, we decided to push him out to take the beating. Mother, just hit him as you see fit. Once he calms down, Qixin and I will explain to you. Come, please do it. Gu Mingming looked at Jianghu and laughed in exasperation at this child. Kanwu did the least wrong, so why is he the one getting beaten up? Because I can take a beating. Kanwu explained to himself with an inexplicable sense of pride on his face. Jianghu smiled apologetically and wrapped his arms around Gu Mingming's arm, acting coquettishly. It's precisely because he made the smallest mistake that Mother didn't hit him too hard. Moreover, Qixin and I are afraid of pain. So Kanwu isn't afraid of pain? Actually, as long as the three of them were safe, the anger in Gu Mingming's heart would dissipate by half. He had never thought of hitting his children. What's more, his 3 sons were already independent people. Other people's children would have left their parents and wandered the world when they were their age. He could do whatever he wanted and his parents could no longer control him. Their child had done something dangerous outside, and when she came back she had to appease her emotions. This was already very sensible. Chapter 1380. Gu Mingming tugged at Kanwu and said, "Stand up properly." Kanwu smiled sheepishly and stood up straight. He smiled apologetically and asked, "Mum, if you don't hit me, does that mean you won't be angry? You won't cry, right?" Gu Mingming suddenly recalled Leah saying that she had an ultimate weapon and all the males in the family were scared to death. She didn't understand it then, but now it dawned on her. Her ultimate weapon was her tears? Right, there was really such a thing. As a mother, she used her tears to force her son into a cowardly dog. "Why are you crying? Do I look like someone who likes to cry so much?" Gu Mingming pinched Kanwu's ears and said, "You rascal, better listen carefully. You are all wolves, do you understand? You should have pride and integrity. If I see you kneeling down again, I will break your legs." Kanwu nodded seriously before asking again, "Left leg or right leg?" "Both legs." Gu Mingming was furious. Who did this brat take after? At times like this, shouldn't she just reply, "I got it, yes, 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 yes"? Would that do? She still dared to ask if it was left leg or right leg. This was simply asking for a beating. Leah hugged Gu Mingming's waist and said, "You said it so harshly, but I wonder who it was." On the Moda Mountains, the moment she heard that the children were in Cole's hands, she was so scared that she cried and threw a tantrum. She even jumped off the cliff and threatened to kill herself, forcing Gregory to bring her back to Solder to save her sons. If not for Gregory's quick reflexes, I'm afraid he wouldn't have the chance to break their legs in the future. Li's casual words made the 3 Qishan brothers tremble with fear. Kanwu was a man of action. He directly snatched the person from Li's arms and turned her left and right to take a closer look. He was so anxious that his brows were tightly knitted together. "Mom, are you injured? Does it hurt anywhere?" You call me a tiger and rash every day. Now I finally know who I took after." Gu Mingming was dizzy from being turned around by Kanwu. She raised her hand and knocked his head. "What are you saying? I am your mother." "I know, how can I not know you?" Kanwu sighed helplessly. Then he was suddenly shocked. He held Gu Mingming's head and looked at it carefully. Oh no, I don't know if she hurt her brain." "Little bastard. You're the one who broke your head." Gu Mingming felt like crying but no tears would come out. She slapped Kanwu's hand away and said, "Your father protected me well and Gregory caught us with one hand. I did not fall at all." Kanwu then heaved a sigh of relief. He looked at Gu Mingming worriedly and asked, "Really?" Gu Mingming exclaimed, "Ah, really?" Kanwu hesitated for a moment, then stretched out 3 fingers and asked, "How many are these?" Gu Mingming held her forehead and said lifelessly, 3. Kanwu was finally relieved. He hugged Gu Mingming and said, "Thank the heavens you really didn't break anything. My mother, my dear mother, you can't do such a reckless thing in the future. How old are you?" How could they not consider the consequences of their actions? "Tell me, how can we work hard in the future with peace of mind? We were so worried. We didn't even see and Mum was gone." Chapter 1381. "Oh mummy, I know I was wrong, really." Kanwu pretended to be in pain as he begged for mercy. His exaggerated manner made Gu Mingming forget why she was angry in the first place. Jianghu and Qishan exchanged glances and finally felt at ease. They heaved a sigh of relief. "Mummy, sorry for making you worry about us." Gu Mingming sighed and hugged Jianghu and Qishan before saying, "All right, tell me, why did you guys get involved with Cole?" "Mummy, do you know about the 7 treasures?" Qishan asked calmly. Gu Mingming nodded. "I know." Qishan sorted out his words before replying. "Cole knows too." Gu Mingming did not understand. It was not strange for Cole to know about the 7 treasures. She already knew about it. Qishan continued. "Not only does he know, he also believes that once the 7 treasures are gathered, they can open the doors of time and space." Gu Mingming bit her lower lip and nodded. "This is also true." Qishuan's face darkened. He was not surprised, but it seemed like his last bit of hope had been shattered. Qishan sighed without a trace. "According to my observations and conjectures, Cole's goal is to open the doors of time and space and lead the orcs to transmigrate to that dimension. Gu Mingming looked at Qi in shock. She instinctively covered her mouth. Is he crazy? If the orcs appear in that world, it will definitely cause panic. And the orcs will definitely be the ones to suffer in the end. Qi shook his head. Cole doesn't think so. He studied the previous messenger of the beast deity in you. He realized that although both of you have smart minds, you do not have strong physiques. He thinks that he is smart enough to fight against you. So as long as there are enough orcs, he is confident that he can conquer that world. The orcs are restricted by a hierarchy. So even if they reach that world, no one will dare to defy him. Then he will be the deity that rules that world. Gu Mingming facepalmed. She did not know if she should curse out loud. Leah stood behind Gu Mingming. He gently rubbed her temples. What did you think of? Why do you have such an expression? Gu Mingming sighed and said, I just want to ask, why do you aliens always want to occupy Earth when our Earth is spinning and rolling around on its own? Let me tell you, aliens who are tens of thousands of years ahead of you in terms of intelligence brought destructive weapons to attack Earth, but they were still beaten back by the superheroes of the Avengers. As for you who only have sharp claws and fangs, if you go there, hey, you will either be captured into a research institute to be dissected and used as an experimental specimen, or locked up in a zoo to be exhibited. A god that rules over the world. You must be crazy. Leah, Qi and Jiaoyu exchanged a look before asking softly, is there absolutely no chance of winning? Gu Mingming nodded and said, I guarantee that if Cole appears on Earth with his orc army, they will all be wiped out in less than an hour. Game over. Chapter 1382. Although the orcs all had international faces, their common language was Chinese. This might have something to do with the fact that the previous messenger of the beast deity was a Chinese, so Leah could not understand Gu Mingming's English. But this did not prevent him from understanding Gu Mingming's expressions and actions, so he could more or less understand what she was trying to express. His hands gently slid down and landed on Gu Mingming's shoulders, using just the right amount of strength. As he needed, he said, since it's a dead end, let him be. It's a clean death over there and saves us the trouble. Gu Mingming shook her head and said, you don't know how advanced the technology in our world is and how crazy they are. Once they discover Cole's secret, they may use all methods to find a way to reverse the doors of time and space. By then, I'm afraid it won't be Cole occupying the Earth, but the Earth will attack the beast world and develop this place into their second home. By then, Gu Mingming could not continue and just furrowed her brows. It was as if she could see orc corpses strewn all over the place, and the forests and rivers here would be replaced by concrete skyscrapers. The current blue sky and white clouds would eventually be tainted by haze, and males and females 10 meters away and humans and beasts 100 meters away. I often scold Cole as a pervert, saying that he is mentally twisted, dark and filthy, but I have never told you that humans are even more twisted, uglier and filthier than Cole. And that kind of human heart can be found everywhere in the world we live in. To achieve their goals, they can do things even crazier than Cole. And I definitely do not wish for our current home to become their target one day. Leah did not care what would become of the beast world. He only knew that Gu Mingming was worried and frowning. Gently stroking Gu Mingming's brows, Leah smiled and said, don't worry, I will not let anyone destroy the home you love. So, we just have to stop Cole, right? Gu Mingming sighed and nodded, saying, we cannot let Cole succeed, definitely not. Alright, I will definitely not let him succeed. Leah promised. Leah patted Gu Mingming lightly, then looked at Qi. Continue. You discovered Cole's secret, and then? Qi looked at Gu Mingming, then continued, among the 7 treasures, the tear of the beast deity, kiss of the ocean, soul of the forest and heart of the desert have already appeared. The remaining love of the sky and spirit of the rocky cliffs were protected by the beast deity's boundary, so you could only take them. Cole knew that you were going to look for the love of the sky during the dry season, so he planned to lure you to take the spirit of the rocky cliffs next year. When these 2 items appear in the world, all that's left is the Beast King's key. Gu Mingming instinctively covered her stomach, putting on a defensive posture. Qi chuckled and shook his head in exasperation. Cole also knows that after what happened to me, you will definitely protect your child better. The chances of him snatching a child from 2 Beast King families is basically 0, so he plans to give birth to a child with the bloodline of a Beast King to be the key of the Beast King. This winter, the Snow Fox clan's collective estrus is the opportunity he chose. Chapter 1383. At the mention of Cole just now, all the females lowered their heads guiltily, which meant that all of them could have had an affair with Cole during the winter. Lexi alone had given birth to 9 little foxes this year. Including the other females, there would be a total of 23 snow fox cubs born this year. Damn it, did she have to kill all 23 cubs just to stop Cole? Then what was the difference between her and Cole? Wasn't they both going crazy for their own goals? Qixin tugged at Gu Mingming's arm. Mom, don't worry. Let me finish. Gu Mingming looked up at Qixin, waiting for him to continue. Qixin said, Jianghu and I spent a month to set up a trap, then used the medicinal bug that Cole had used on Daddy Leo on him. Medicinal bug? You mean the one that causes people to lose their minds? Gu Mingming asked in confusion. Qixin nodded. Daddy Leo had taught Jianghu the method to activate the medicinal bug. And I know how to use the fox seductive fragrance. Gu Mingming looked at Qixin in shock. The fox seductive fragrance was something from the snow fox tribe. How could a wolf like Qixin know how to use it? Moreover, if your 3-year-old son told you that he knew how to use the aphrodisiac, you would also be dumbfounded. Qixin looked at Gu Mingming's speechless expression and smiled. Mom, don't think too much. I just used the fox seductive fragrance and bewitching spell to make Cole forget. You know bewitching spells too? Gu Mingming was even more shocked. Qixin lowered his head and chuckled. You and Cole are probably the 2 best at using bewitching spells in this world. Both of you have used it in front of me before. If you still can't learn it, then you are really too stupid. Gu Mingming's heart skipped a beat. She pursed her lips and looked at Qixin guiltily. You know that I used bewitching spells on you? Qixin nodded honestly. I know. Then? Gu Mingming's entire body shrank. She didn't dare to look at Qixin in the eyes. Qixin squatted down and placed his hand on Gu Mingming's knee. It was useful at the start. I really forgot about Cole. But to me at that time, Cole had taken up most of my memories. After forgetting about him, my memory was filled with a huge blank space and I couldn't understand many things no matter how hard I tried. So, slowly, the bewitching spell lost its effect. But even so, there was one thing that I remembered very clearly. Mom, when you were crying, my heart felt like it was being squeezed by sharp claws. The pain was so painful that it was engraved in my heart and I would never forget it. So, I swear, I will never do anything to make you cry again. So don't worry, even though I remember everything, I will not return to Cole's side. Really? Gu Mingming's eyes turned red. Qixin frowned and said, Don't cry. If you cry, I will immediately go and look for Cole. Gu Mingming rubbed her eyes hard and shook her head. I'm not crying, I'm not crying. Qixin then smiled and gave Gu Mingming a big hug. So Mom, don't worry. I'm very clear about what I am doing now. I am not staying by your side because of your bewitching spell. It is because I am your son and you are my mother. I can't bear to see you cry, so I am staying. Chapter 1384. After calming Gu Mingming down, Qixin continued, To prevent a situation like mine from happening again, we only tampered with a small portion of Cole's memories. We did not delete or change too much of it. Gu Mingming asked, What did you change? Qixin smiled and squinted his eyes. Mum, can I not say it? Gu Mingming shook her head resolutely. I know this is very annoying and will make you feel that I am over-monitoring you. But sorry, all mothers in this world are the same. Qixin lowered his head and smiled. It's not that I feel there is a problem with you over-monitoring me. The problem is that I am afraid that if I say it, your partners will kill me. Gu Mingming facepalmed. You really did something to cause trouble. It's alright, just say it. If your beast father and Leah want to kill you, I will cry. Leah sighed in exasperation. That's why I am not willing to tell you what your ultimate weapon is. Gu Mingming looked up at Leah helplessly. But I can't just watch you and Elvis kill my son, right? Leah poked Gu Mingming's little head. Biased. Gu Mingming did not deny it. She just squinted her eyes and smiled. Qixin cleared his throat. Since that's the case, I will tell you the truth. Say it. Gu Mingming sat down and held Qixuan's hand. She was all ears. Qixin pursed his lips and chuckled. I magnified Cole's possessiveness towards you. I even hinted to him that he loves you. Cough, 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 cough. Gu Mingming choked on Qixuan's words. She looked at him with a confused expression. Leah also raised his eyebrows. He did not say anything else and was about to strike. Qixin hurriedly hugged Gu Mingming. Mom, let me finish first. Gu Mingming held on to Leah. She took 2 deep breaths to calm herself down. She said in a lifeless tone, "Say it." In Cole's original plan, he wanted to obtain you so that he could use you to open the doors of time and space. To achieve this, he first had to assimilate you. He had to pull you into his mindset and behavior. Only then would you feel that what he was doing was right. Only then would you help him complete what he wanted to do. Qixin finished in one breath. Then he took another deep breath. From the moment he poisoned me and held me hostage, his motive was not to threaten you, but to force you to abandon me. This proves that you and he are the same kind of person. As long as someone hinders you, you can eliminate them even if they are your family. Just like how he treated Daddy Leah and the First Highness of the Snow Fox clan. But no matter how much you've been hindered because of me, you've never given up on me. You'd rather compromise yourself over and over again, but you've never thought of taking the simplest path of killing me to end everything. Gu down him down. Xian down Qixuan's. Mengming's face. I, and... Chapter 1385. So when we were in Zacharias, I volunteered to stay behind to fight Leonard, a first-level orc challenging a fourth-level orc is courting death. I thought I was doomed, but you used the soul of the forest to save me. Qixin looked up at Gu Mingming, his eyes filled with admiration and attachment. He, who rarely revealed his emotions, now looked extremely emotional. He rubbed his handsome face against Gu Mingming's arm and said, "Mum, your maternal love is too great. For me, you don't seem to have any bottom line at all. You don't even blink when you use any precious things on me. In order to protect me, you can swallow any grievances. But I'm still constantly making you angry, making you sad, and saying things that deserve a beating." Gu Mingming rubbed Qixuan's little head and said, "No, you are only like this because Cole used his bewitching spell on you. You are not a bad child. Even now you are still defending me. Mum, you are probably the most gentle mother in the world." Qixin knelt by Gu Mingming's feet and continued, "Cole realized that your love for me was boundless and it was impossible to force you to kill me, so he sent Miranda over." Gu Mingming's eyes widened. Gu Mingming raised her eyebrows and looked at Qixin. Qixin smiled and said, "He knows that you treasure Daddy Leah, so he specially sent Miranda over to annoy you. He hopes that Daddy Leah and Miranda will have an amicable relationship, and then you will kill them. That way he can prove that you are the same kind of person as him and that all traitors deserve to die, and then it should be, you cannot wait for others to betray you before you kill them. In order not to be betrayed, you must first kill everyone who might betray you." It seems like he learned something from the words left behind by the previous messenger of the beast deity, something like, "I would rather betray others." Gu Mingming thought for a moment and said, "I would rather betray the world than let the world betray me." Qixin nodded and said, "Yes, that seems to be it." Gu Mingming laughed coldly and said, "Is this Cole trying to learn from Cao Cao? Well, Cao Cao's way of dying is quite special. Maybe it suits him." Qixin did not pester Gu Mingming to ask about Cao Cao. He just kept it in mind. After settling Cole's matter, he would invite Gu Mingming to Zacharias for the winter. Then he could slowly listen to Gu Mingming tell him these stories. But Cole did not expect Daddy Leah to resist such a strong temptation and not touch Miranda. "You didn't kill Miranda either. You just sold her." Qixin heaved a sigh of relief and continued, "Based on Cole's personality of not giving up until he reaches his goal, he will definitely try again after failing this time. And his moves will be more disgusting and vicious every time. I'm worried that once you fall for his dirty tricks, it'll be hard for you to get away. That's why I set up this trap and changed his thoughts about you." Gu Mingming looked at Qixin in exasperation. "Do you think that as long as he falls in love with me, he will not scheme against me or hurt me? But my silly son, do you really think that someone like Cole knows what love is?" Qixin shook his head and said, "He is not worthy of loving you." Leah nodded in agreement. Qixin had said all day and this was the most pleasing to the ear. Chapter 1386. Gu Mingming sighed. If she had known earlier, she would not have used Sun Tzu's Art of War and 36 stratagems to enlighten the children. She had been hot-headed at that time and thought that since the Snow Fox tribe loved to give up their esoterica, she would just carve one for them. To prevent the next messenger of the beast deity from treating her as a joke, she decided to give up on Wang Xiaoxin's 300 poems of the Tang dynasty and carve the 36 stratagems instead, mainly to make it look more impressive. At that time she really did not expect that the things she used to act cool would cause her son to be so daring to take such a risk to meddle in Cole's affairs. Holding her forehead, Gu Mingming decided not to casually act cool anymore. Even if she wanted to, she could not do it in front of the children. Qi Xian did not know what Gu Mingming was thinking about and just continued, "No matter how I thought about it, the only thing that could make Cole go crazy was probably the matter of opening the doors of time and space. Although I do not know what the doors of time and space are, I know that if it is something that Cole wants to do, you would definitely not want to see it. So using this to provoke him would definitely not work. After thinking about it, he spent the most effort on you to open the doors of time and space. Step by step he did things that looked like it was for your own good. He gave you all the things that looked beneficial on the surface, hoping to win your heart and make you like him. Although he had an ulterior motive, it was also true that he had spent so much effort on you. But no matter what he did, you just did not like him. So to someone like Cole who thinks that he is more intelligent than others and is unparalleled in the world, it was definitely a big blow. As a male, to a certain extent he would definitely want to hunt you. So I used the fox seductive fragrance to confuse his mind. But just like what you said, Cole does not know what love is. So I could only magnify his possessiveness towards you and lead him to believe that possessiveness is love." Qi Xian grinned at Leah and said, "I dared to do that because I believe that Daddy Leah would definitely not let him succeed." Leah snorted coldly and said, "You placed my female in that position and forcefully dragged me down with you? You don't have to flatter me now and I can't just stand by and watch. But kid, I'll remember this debt first and we'll slowly settle it in the future." Qi Xian shrugged his shoulders and looked at Jiaoyu. Jiaoyu chuckled and took a step forward. He placed both hands on Li's shoulders and said, "Daddy Leah, don't be so stubborn. You can't do anything to the four of us. Because no matter what, my mother's heart is always on our side." Leah gritted his teeth. What was the meaning of the Wheel of Fortune? What did the heavenly Tao mean by reincarnation? How many people had he ridiculed with these words in the past? Even Snake was infuriated by this sentence. Now, the person who had infuriated him back then was being infuriated. Moreover, how similar was Jiaoyu's expression to his in the past? "Yeah, I like it when you can't stand me but can't get rid of me." Chapter 1387. Once he is completely controlled by the bug. Qi Xian chuckled. His gaze landed on Li's face. Daddy Leah will naturally have a way to make him obedient and not dare to cause any more trouble. But he is so suspicious. How could he not discover that you had planted the bug in his body? Back then, your daddy Leah had removed it because he discovered it himself. I guess that Cole must have the ability to do so. Gu Mingming really did not think that Cole would be so easily controlled. With his cautiousness, he would have immediately become suspicious the moment he realized that he could not control his emotions. Qi Xian said innocently, "We did not plant the bug in his body. He did it himself." Gu Mingming frowned and looked at Qi Xian in confusion. Qi Xian pointed at his own forehead. Gu Mingming was suddenly enlightened. "Soul of the forest?" Qi Xian nodded. "I first placed the bug on my forehead. This bug loves to bite plants by nature, so it naturally found its way to the soul of the forest. And Cole was the one who took the soul of the forest from my forehead and placed it in his right chest. The three of us never touched him." Gu Mingming frowned. Even though Qi Xian was speaking so casually, was Cole such a scheming person? This winter, her three sons must not have had an easy time in Cole's hands. But it was obvious that these three fellows would never tell the truth. No matter how much she pestered them, they would only answer perfunctorily. They would never tell her what they had done this winter. Children are all grown up and have their own ideas. They did not want to let what had already happened become a reason for her to cry. So they only presented a perfect outcome to her. But they did not know that the more she did not know the process, the more she would let her imagination run wild. Humans' greatest fear often came from their own imagination and speculations. She forced a smile. Her children were not willing to let her worry, so how could she bear to let them worry for her? So Gu Mingming could only convince herself that it was fine as long as her three sons were fine. She would not ask about what her children did not want to say. She would always remember that Cole had bullied her sons. She would just get revenge in the future. In the evening, noises could be heard from outside and Gu Mingming knew that the first hunters had returned. Leah carried Gu Mingming and brought his three sons out of the stone castle, walking towards the deity altar. On both sides of the path, the Snow Fox clan and the Wolf clan formed a distinct standoff. Gu Mingming laughed coldly. Cole's arrival had indeed intensified the conflict between the Snow Fox clan and the Wolf clan. Everyone had a beast king, so no one was willing to concede. On the altar, Elvis and Cole stood on each side, each with a huge wild beast in front of them. Both of them stood there calmly as if they did not care about winning or losing. Instead, the two groups of people below the stage were pushing and shouting at each other, giving off the feeling of street fights in old Hong Kong movies. Gu Mingming frowned and said coldly, "Creating trouble during the sacrificial ceremony for the first hunt? You guys are really looking down on me, the messenger of the beast deity." Gu Mingming's voice was not loud, but it effectively stopped both parties from taking action. The wolves retreated to Elvis's side in unison, then bowed their heads respectfully. "Queen." Chapter 1388. Gu Mingming did not bother with anyone and just let Leah support her up the altar like an empress dowager. She looked at Elvis and then at Cole, asking with a smile, "Two beast kings, can anyone tell me what happened?" Elvis walked to Gu Mingming and held her other arm, then said softly, "It's just the Wolf clan and Fox clan fighting over whose prey to use for the sacrifice." Gu Mingming sat on the chair on the altar and held her chin, saying, "Oh, alright, then you guys fight it out. Inform me when you have a result." Cole bowed and smiled, "Since the great messenger is already here, then let the great messenger make the decision." "Meh. That's not appropriate," Gu Mingming said nonchalantly. Cole smiled and looked at Gu Mingming dotingly, saying, "The great messenger represents the beast deity and is a supreme being. Everything she says is right, what's inappropriate about it?" Gu Mingming nodded and said, "Alright, then the Fox clan will have their prey for the sacrifice." The moment Gu Mingming finished speaking, the people from the Snow Fox clan raised their heads and puffed out their chests, looking at the Wolf clan who were still arguing with them with a provocative and contemptuous gaze. Although the Wolf clan was not convinced, it was the Queen's decision after all. Without the Wolf King expressing his stance, they did not dare to act rashly and could only lower their heads and bear with it. Gu Mingming saw everything and waited for the Fox clan to forget themselves before speaking again. "Warriors of the Wolf clan, carry your prey back to the stone castle with me. We will hold a night campfire party. Hutta, follow your brothers and carry your father's prey up. I want to bring it home to eat myself." In an instant, the atmosphere was tense and the faces of the Snow Fox clan froze. "Great messenger, this sacrifice cannot be without you." Elder Eugene wanted to block Gu Mingming's way, but was blocked by the people from the Wolf clan. He could not get close to Gu Mingming. Gu Mingming stopped in her tracks and said, "Don't you have the Fox King here?" When he was the leader of Sauter, he also hosted many sacrifices. He couldn't have forgotten how to host after wandering for a few years, right? But it doesn't matter. The next time I see the beast god, I'll explain it to him. It's not convenient for me, the Wolf clan's queen, to interfere with the Fox clan's affairs, so I asked the Fox King to manage it on my behalf. My father has always doted on me, so he won't blame me for being lazy. Eugene wanted to say something else, but Gu Mingming beat him to it. "The sacrificial ceremony should be quite busy, I shall not waste your time." With that, Gu Mingming raised her head and shouted at the top of her lungs, "Loris, bring your tribesmen and come with me. Kiera has not seen you for a long time, let's go play together today." Lawrence was Kiera's beast mother. Ever since she placed Kiera in Sandy's house, she used the excuse of being a child to hang out with Sandy and gradually became familiar with Gu Mingming. Although the people from the 16 tribes were not as smart as the Snow Foxes, they still had this little bit of foresight. Hearing Gu Mingming call out Loris, they naturally understood that she was dragging the 16 tribes along with her to the campfire party with the Wolf tribe, leaving the Snow Foxes here alone to worship. Chapter 1389. In the past, Sauter's sacrificial ceremony also had such a lineup and Cole was only a 5th-level beast then. But now, even though he was a beast king, the entire scene suddenly became cold and cheerless, making the Snow Fox clan feel especially awkward. Gu Mingming had made her stance clear. She meant that if the Snow Fox clan dared to fight with the Wolf clan in the future, she would lead the Wolf clan and the 16 tribes to play alone, leaving the Snow Fox clan out to dry. Mighty Beast King this. Elder Eugene looked at Cole with a troubled expression. Cole chuckled and said, "No rush, take it slow. I have always been patient with Agu." 2 flowers bloomed, one on each side. Gu Mingming led her people back to the stone castle joyfully. The stone castle was built by the previous messenger of the beast deity Wang Xiaoxin. After the messenger of the beast deity left, the successive tribe leaders stayed here. This was Sauter's iconic building and also the symbol of theocracy, so its style was naturally different from others. The large empty space at the entrance was no smaller than the area of the altar of deity. In addition, without the Snow Fox clan, the number of people was reduced by a third, so although the bonfire party was crowded, it still seemed especially lively. Gu Mingming purposely separated the wolf clan from the 16 tribes and sat together. At the start, they were all guarded against each other and felt uneasy. Huda and his brothers were like butterflies jumping around the bonfire to liven up the atmosphere, and soon the two sides became familiar with each other. To the wolf clan, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. The enemy of the queen is the enemy of the wolf king, and the enemy of the wolf king is the enemy of the entire wolf clan. Since the wolf clan could not defeat the fox clan alone, then it was naturally better to have more allies. For the 16 tribes, it was very difficult for them to survive in the gap between two tribes with beast kings. They did not think that they could fight against either the wolf tribe or the fox tribe. The best way was to rely on one of them and form an alliance with them. The so-called choice between the two tribes was actually a choice between the two beast kings. It was obvious that the wolf clan was closer to the messenger of the beast deity, and there was a ninth highness in the family of the messenger of the beast deity. Once this ninth highness successfully leveled up and broke through his limits to activate the beast king bloodline like Elvis, then this legitimate beast king would become the true leader of the fox clan. Cole, that stray beast king, would at most be a fake. By then, the fox clan and wolf clan would belong to the messenger of the beast deity. Hence, the priority of choosing a side in advance was naturally to follow the messenger's wishes. In today's sacrificial ceremony, the emissary's attitude was obvious. With such a consensus, the atmosphere between the two races naturally became harmonious. On such a night, it was inevitable that another fiery blind date would take place. Gu Mingming held her forehead and sighed. We can't sleep at home tonight, let's go out and lie low for a while. Elvis and Leo were used to Gu Mingming avoiding other people's mating scenes, so they did not say much and left quietly with Gu Mingming. They had originally wanted to go to the stream to look at the stars, but Gu Mingming insisted on going to Sandy's house. The reason was simple: if I don't sleep, no one else is allowed to sleep. Chapter 1390. Sandy pointed at the bird circling in the sky and said, "Is it that birdman Gregory who's still flying around blindly in the middle of the night?" Gu Mingming looked up at the sky. "I don't know, it's too far, I can't see clearly. But it shouldn't be so fast. Didn't he bring Miranda back to the Moda Mountains? He should at least take a few days to arrange for mating, right? After all, there are too many wolves but not enough meat. Females are so rare, they must be dealt with appropriately. As the tribe leader, if he doesn't stay behind to control the situation, wouldn't it be a mess?" With that, Gu Mingming tilted her head and smiled at Sandy. "What? You like him? Gregory is quite a good male. His looks are definitely at the level of a Prince Charming. He is also very powerful. Most importantly, he can fly, and he can fly very high. If your family can add an air force, it's not bad." Sandy rolled her eyes at Gu Mingming. "I don't want a blind man. Gregory isn't blind, okay? A vulture's eyes are very good. He can even see a potato dropping from such a high place." Gu Mingming defended Gregory. "He's not blind." Sandy straightened her back. She roared as if she wanted to pick a fight with someone. "If he's not blind, where did he get the confidence to say that he doesn't like you?" Gu Mingming, should she tell Sandy that Gregory had already slapped himself in the face, and now he liked her again? Sandy was filled with righteous indignation. "I thought he would be around today after winter, so I wanted to see what kind of person he was. How dare he look down on our Gu Mingming? In the end, I didn't see him and couldn't vent my anger that I had been suppressing for an entire winter. Now I don't like any bird I see. Diske, none of the birdmen are good." Gu Mingming chuckled and said, "Aya, aren't you being too presumptuous by saying that you can defeat a whole boat of people with one strike? That Ian and the rest are our people, right? By saying that, the Eagle Owl tribe is being treated unjustly." Sandy thought about it. That was true. Gregory had offended her, but the others with wings did not. But she had already scolded him, how could she take it back? So she cleared her throat. "If any birdman is unhappy, ask them to settle scores with Gregory. Who asked him to ruin the reputation of all the birdmen?" Gu Mingming smiled apologetically. Yes, my precious Sandy is always right. Gu Mingming stayed at Sandy's house and chatted with Sandy the whole night, while Elvis and Leah sat by the side to accompany her the whole night. The arrival of the Lord Wolf King made Sandy's 7 wolf beasts excited for the entire night. Since then they had even more love and respect for Sandy. The next morning when Gu Mingming returned to the stone castle with a yawn, the entrance had already been tidied up. Gregory stood at the entrance, his gaze locked onto the direction Gu Mingming had appeared from. Seeing her return, he did not go up to her but instead turned to leave. He didn't know why he had stood at the door for the whole night. He just wanted to wait for her to come back, but when she came back he realized that he had no right to wait for her, so he could only leave. He stood in the wind for the entire night just to see her. Gu Mingming didn't greet Gregory either. Their relationship was extremely awkward. Both of them knew what was going on and it wouldn't be appropriate to take a step back. Chapter 1391. The moment Gu Mingming pushed the door open, the 4 little fellows immediately sat up straight. They opened their eyes and stared at the door for a while. Gu Mingming could tell with one look that they were still in a daze from sleep. They looked alert but their brains had not yet processed the situation. So she smiled and said, "Go to sleep, I will wake you all up when Daddy Leah is done cooking." The 4 young men nodded blankly, then fell headfirst into a deep sleep. Gu Mingming smiled helplessly and shook her head. Elvis carried her up to the 2nd floor and said, "You sleep for a while too, I will wake you up when Leah is done cooking." Gu Mingming was also tired after staying up all night, so she did not reject and allowed Elvis to carry her up to the 2nd floor to sleep soundly. She slept for the entire day. When she woke up, it was already evening. Rubbing her eyes, she went downstairs and saw her 4 sons surrounding Elvis. It looked like they had been fighting for quite a while. The 4 sons were all sweating profusely, but their eyes were shining with excitement. Elvis was fighting 1 against 4 with ease. The 4 little fellows could not gain any advantage in front of Elvis in any way they cooperated. Leah stood against the setting sun and his shadow was elongated by the sunlight. He pointed in Gu Mingming's direction and when he saw her coming downstairs, he could not help but smile. He lifted the lid of the pot and said while scooping some food, "Mingming, you're awake? You must be hungry, come and eat." Gu Mingming nodded and walked to the dining table. Leah had just placed the bowls on the table when the 4 sons had already crowded around the table and sat at their seats. Gu Mingming used a beast's skin to wipe the sweat off Kanwa's forehead, who was sitting closest to her. She smiled and asked, "Look at what you guys did, you're all sweaty?" Kanwa chuckled and said, "Mum, fighting with the Beast King is really exhilarating." Gu Mingming smiled helplessly and said, "We did not gain any advantage, what's so exhilarating about it?" Kanwa looked at Gu Mingming seriously and shook his head, saying, "Which wolf tribe can gain any advantage from the Wolf King? We will definitely lose, but just the 4 of us daring to attack the Wolf King is already much more valiant than the other wolves. Didn't you see Mother-in-Law's 7? I heard from Colin that they're usually rampant at home, but when they're in front of the Wolf King, they're all docile and don't even dare to breathe loudly." Gu Mingming patted Kanwa's little head and said, Yes, you 4 brothers are the most ferocious. Why don't you take a look at who gave birth to your sons?" Kanwa was grinning so widely that only his teeth could be seen. He was obviously very pleased with himself. Gu Mingming continued, "But why don't you call him Father Beast? Should we call him Wolf King?" Kanwa straightened his neck and said arrogantly, "When my Kanwa's father is more honorable than the Wolf King, I will naturally call him father. Silly son, parents are the most honorable titles in this world. No other titles can replace them." Kanwa shook his head and said, "No. One day when I become a Beast King I will call the Wolf King Father Beast." Gu Mingming was helpless. Her son was very ambitious and she could not possibly pour cold water on him. Moreover, Elvis himself did not say anything, so what else could she say? She just rubbed Kanwa's head and asked, "What about me? Do you still call me Great Messenger or Snake King in the future?" Chapter 1392. We have 6 males in our family. Let us do those tough, dangerous and dirty things. You just have to stay at home obediently and be my mother. Gu Mingming sighed with a smile. Although the children refused to tell her what exactly happened at Cole's place during winter, it was not hard to guess from Kanwa's description. Tough, dangerous, dirty, Gu Mingming sighed softly. How many people have to fall into hell to protect one's innocence? If the price of letting me be carefree is that all of you are in danger, then why not? Leah hugged Gu Mingming's shoulder and hooked her chin with his other hand, blocking the rest of her words back into her mouth. Using his tongue, he crushed the rest of her words into a whimper. The kiss was deep, and when he let go, Gu Mingming looked at Leah with her face flushed red. He then chuckled and said, "As long as we can protect you completely, even if we fall into hell, we will still feel that we have a bright future ahead of us. So keep away your what-ifs and what-ifs. Just be a good little fairy and let us protect you. If you dare to do what you did on the Moda Mountains a second time, I will definitely return the favor and let you see everyone you care about die in the most tragic way in front of you, including me." Gu Mingming shrunk her neck and smiled. "Didn't I already explain? I only dared to jump because I was certain that Gregory would catch me. That was just an immature method to threaten others. I wasn't really seeking death. There are many ways to achieve your goal, but you chose the one that drove Elvis and me crazy." Leah looked at Qixin faintly. "You abandoned us for him. This makes me very unhappy." Gu Mingming knew that Leah would not really kill Qixin, but if he wanted to be evil, he would have endless ways to torture others. She was not willing to let her precious son fall into Li's evil hands. Hence, she immediately gave in and hugged Li's waist. Smiling, she said, "Isn't it because I am not as smart as you, that I could only think of such a method that would harm myself? Why don't you tell me what you were planning to do at that time? I will learn well and not make such a mistake again." How could Leah not know what Gu Mingming was thinking? However, he wasn't going to do anything to Qixin anyway, so he decided to go along with her wishes. He pinched her little nose and said, "It's very simple. You just have to sing a song." "What do you want to sing?" Gu Mingming was confused. Leah chuckled. "In the beast world, only two races know how to sing, the mermaids and the birds. The difference is that only the females of the mermaid clan can sing, while only the males of the avian clan can sing." Gu Mingming rolled her eyes and suddenly smiled. "So, once a female's voice is heard in the Mota Mountains, it will definitely attract the attention of the other birds' tribe members. They will definitely come to investigate. As long as we attract everyone's attention, the success rate of finding one or two people who can send us down the mountain will be very high." Gu Mingming knocked her own head regretfully and said, "I'm so stupid, why didn't I think of that?" She had set her sights on Gregory and thought that he was the only one with wings in the world. But then again, how do you know that only males can sing? Chapter 1393. Since you already had a plan, why didn't you tell me earlier? Then I wouldn't have done something so dangerous and made you worry. Gu Mingming looked at Leah with a wronged expression. Leah pinched Gu Mingming's nose and shook it left and right. "How many times have I told you to leave anything to me and Elvis to handle? As long as you remembered my words, you wouldn't have done anything like that. Now you still dare to accuse me? I was wrong." Gu Mingming knew she was in the wrong and didn't dare to push her luck. She just smiled apologetically. "Seeing the two of you jump down with me without saying anything, I was really scared. I won't dare to do it again. I really won't dare to do it again." So ever since they returned from the Moda Mountains, Gu Mingming didn't stick her neck out. She would obediently take 2 steps back and let Elvis and Leah handle anything. Even when coal appeared in solder, Gu Mingming didn't bother to handle it. She trusted that Elvis and Leah would have their own arrangements. Tilting her head, Gu Mingming asked again, "I have another question. Leah." Gu Mingming. "That cave is so far from the main mountain range and the wind and snow are howling outside. With my tiny voice, how can my song travel that far?" Leah smiled faintly. He bent down and blew gently into Gu Mingming's ear. "If your voice doesn't work, there's still your scent. Don't forget, you have a scent that can make all males go crazy. As long as Elvis and I work harder, we can make use of that wind to make all the males on the Moda Mountains go crazy." Scent, fox seductive fragrance. Gu Mingming glared at him. She crossed her arms in a defensive position. "You actually want me to sell my body?" Leah grinned. "With Elvis and me protecting you, no one will be able to get you. As long as that group of males who were driven by their primal desires approach the cave, Elvis can unleash his beast pressure to subdue them. Then he can preach righteousness, threaten and tempt them, or even use bewitching spells if that doesn't work. Anyway, there are countless ways to make them obedient." Gu Mingming held her forehead and said, "Leah, I really realize that a fox will always be a fox. I admit defeat and will never act smart in front of you again." Leah poked Gu Mingming's brows and said, "I will listen to it for now." Gu Mingming laughed mischievously. She had no choice, her credibility with Elvis and Leah had long been destroyed, there was nothing she could do even if they did not believe in her promises. After the meal, Kanwu and Qixin bade farewell to Gu Mingming. They were not around at the end of winter, so Zacharias was probably in chaos. Burke could not handle the situation alone, so they had to return as soon as possible to stabilize the situation. Gu Mingming hugged her two sons, reminding them not to risk their lives in the future and to be more careful in doing things. The two of them just chuckled and did not answer her directly. Gu Mingming understood that in their hearts, they had already decided that males should shield females from the wind and rain, not letting females come into contact with any danger. So these two sons would still use their own methods to protect her next time. Gu Mingming took a step back. At least promise me that you will ensure your own safety as much as possible. We will. Qixin hugged Gu Mingming back. Mum, you should smile more. Your smile is the prettiest. Chapter 1394. After sending Qixin and Kanwu off, Jianghu and Heda started to busy themselves with the affairs of the tribe. The marriage alliance between the 16 tribes and the Wolf clan caused the internal situation of Sauter to be unstable. The Snow Fox clan had originally thought that with Cole as the Fox King, they would be able to stand up to the Wolf clan. Although Elvis was Gu Mingming's partner, the Snow Fox clan was still a native tribe and had a different foundation. But who would have thought that during the first hunt, Gu Mingming would gather the 16 tribes and the Wolf clan together? The situation instantly changed from a three-way fight to a one-sided fight, making it difficult for the Snow Fox clan to fight alone. But Cole was someone who did not care and ignored the situation, as if he did not care about the fate of the Snow Fox clan at all. So, the elders could only find another way to save the nation. That morning, Gu Mingming was carried by Leah to Sandy's house. At the border of Sandy's territory, she saw a familiar person. Arnold, a third-level male from the Snow Fox clan, was the one who had started the first battle with Hodgson on the day of the marriage alliance between Sandy and the Wolf clan. He was the leader of the younger generation. Great messenger. Arnold bowed respectfully to Gu Mingming. Gu Mingming looked at him in confusion. You are here, for something? Arnold nodded and said, I'm here to confess to female Sandy. Confess? Gu Mingming was even more surprised. Didn't the Snow Fox clan never marry outsiders? Going back 8 generations, even when Wang Xiaoxin was still alive, she did not have a single Snow Fox as a partner. They would rather raise their clans and become her followers, but none of them became her male. Leah was the only exception in the entire Snow Fox clan. When her identity as the messenger of the beast deity was exposed, although the Snow Fox clan did not dare to say anything openly, they did not hold back against Leah. It was only after Gu Mingming became the Beast King and became more domineering due to the influence of Snake's memories did they gradually restrain themselves. As the respected messenger of the beast deity, the Snow Fox clan did not welcome her. But this Arnold suddenly confessed to Sandy, a half-orc? It wasn't that Sandy wasn't a good person. It was just that the Snow Fox clan was an arrogant race, and they couldn't help but be suspicious. Leah swayed his tail and smiled. Do you think that I, the Ninth Highness, am not strong enough to stabilize the relationship between the messenger of the beast deity and the Snow Fox clan, so you want to imitate the Wolf clan and form a marriage alliance with Sandy? Gu Mingming frowned. She looked at Arnold with a guarded expression. Arnold did not avoid the question. He smiled and replied, After all, the Ninth Highness's heart is not on the Snow Fox clan's side, isn't it? Leah nodded and confessed, Of course, my heart only belongs to my Mingming. That's why the Snow Fox clan has to find another way out. Arnold admitted that he had proposed to Sandy for the sake of a marriage alliance. Go back. Gu Mingming said, I will not allow anyone with ulterior motives to get close to Sandy. Arnold didn't leave. Instead, he calmly asked, Don't tell me that the members of the Wolf clan don't have ulterior motives when they mate with Sandy? Or is it that the great messenger favors one and discriminates against the other? The things that the Wolf clan can do, the Snow Fox clan cannot? Gu Mingming was speechless. The 7 wolves from Sandy's family mated with Sandy because they wanted to rope Gu Mingming in through Sandy. This was the truth and there was no way to deny it. Chapter 1395. So, even though the 7 wolves had impure motives, they would not do anything to harm Sandy. But the Beast King of the Snow Fox clan was Cole. She did not trust Cole, so she did not trust everyone in the Snow Fox clan. So she would not allow the Snow Fox clan to infiltrate Sandy's family. You lost to Hodgson the last time. It must have been very frustrating, right? You were on par with him, but you only lost by half a move. Aya, it's really depressing to think about it. Leah swayed his tail and said nonchalantly, but now he is a 4th-level beast. I wonder if you are still his match if you two were to fight now. Lee's meaning was that if he wanted to woo the other party's female, he would have to challenge the other party's male. The Wolf clan would not allow the Snow Fox clan to marry Sandy, so Hodgson was a hurdle he could not cross. This matter would not happen. Arnold lowered his head and smiled. Then, did the Ninth Highness mate with the Great Messenger because he defeated the Wolf King? Leah raised his brows and smiled. What? Are you Sandy's first love? Arnold shook his head and said, no. Leah asked again, did you and Sandy have a lingering old relationship? Arnold shook his head again. No. Leah chuckled. Then what are you going to use to compete with me? Arnold stood straight and chuckled against the light. He did look like a carefree scholar. He said in a low voice, old relationships are not as good as new ones. First love is not as good as long-term companionship. It has always been the Snow Fox clan rejecting others. No one has ever resisted the Snow Fox clan. After all, if a Snow Fox male wants to coax a female, even a knowledgeable female like the Great Messenger would succumb to the Ninth Highness charm. Arnold may not be comparable to the Ninth Highness, but it should be enough to match Sandy. Leah was not angry. He just smiled. But you can't even enter the territory now, right? Arnold nodded. I heard that the Ninth Highness was chased out of the territory by the Great Messenger several times. It was only because of his infatuation that he managed to move the Great Messenger. Arnold also wants to imitate the Ninth Highness and act as an infatuated lover. Leah nodded and said, good luck. With that, he swayed his tail and looked at Gu Mingming saying, let's not disturb him while he is brewing his emotions. Sandy is going to complain to you again when he gets anxious. All right. Gu Mingming did not say anything else and just followed Elvis and Leah into Sandy's territory. Sandy used to sit at the entrance of the cave and bask in the sun. But today he had shrunk back into the cave. Clearly he was avoiding Arnold. Upon seeing Gu Mingming, Sandy's face turned sullen. That person is still standing at the borders of the territory? Gu Mingming nodded and Elvis placed her beside Sandy's bed. Gu Mingming sat in front of Sandy and hugged little Dodgy in her arms. Chapter 1396. What I mean is what I mean. Whoever annoys you deserves to be beaten up. Gu Mingming didn't mind at all. Moreover, who in this world has to agree to someone's confession? Since he dared to confess, he should be mentally prepared to challenge your partner. Just treat it as sending Colin or Hodgson to accept his challenge. Who can he blame if he can't win? Sandy poked Gu Mingming's little head. How many years have you been in the beast world? Don't you know the rules of the beast world? You have to challenge your partner to woo a female, but they can choose, alright? Gu Mingming blinked her eyes and looked at Sandy in confusion. Sandy sighed and said, don't tell me that ever since you mated with Elvis and Leah, no other males have confessed to you. Gu Mingming recalled and nodded. Yes, but it was only 2 or 3 times? Sandy continued. Then what did the 2 of them say when they confessed to you? Gu Mingming tilted her head and looked at Elvis and Leah. She thought for a while and shook her head. I forgot. It seems like I usually rejected them directly. Leah took a step forward and glared at Dodgy. Due to the connection between the 2 races, Dodgy very sensibly jumped out of Gu Mingming's arms. Only then did Leah carry Gu Mingming in his arms and pinched her little face. You little heartless one, don't you know how much effort Elvis and I had put into getting rid of your rotten peaches? You still dare to say that you rejected them. Did you reject Burke when he impersonated Eugene? Did you reject that 2nd-level tiger beast in Zacharias when he confessed to you? And when that witch doctor in St. Nazir confessed to you? I rejected them all. Gu Mingming said righteously. I rejected them all when they confessed to me. That kind of rejection is not a rejection in the eyes of males. It is just a test of their sincerity and patience. Leah shook his head helplessly. Gu Mingming thought for a while. Impossible. I made myself very clear. Leah pinched Gu Mingming's face and shook it left and right, saying, your gentle tone and tactful words sound like you're trying to reject me. No male will give up the thought of pursuing you after hearing it. Gu Mingming looked at Leah and Leah. Gu Mingming felt that she had made herself very clear. But to be honest, it was very burdensome to reject someone, especially in a place like the beast world. Unlike the modern world where guys confess to you with too many ulterior motives, the orcs here used their entire lives to prove to you how happy they could make you. Faced with such a pure dedication type of confession, Gu Mingming really could not say anything too harsh or sharp. Blinking her eyes, Gu Mingming asked Leah, "But they clearly didn't pester me after I rejected them." Leah was so infuriated by Gu Mingming that he laughed. He asked her, "Do you think they were rejected by your gentle words?" Gu Mingming nodded her head in deep agreement. "What else can I do?" Leah placed Gu Mingming opposite him, then looked into her eyes and sneered, "If you want to mate with my Gu Mingming, you must first challenge her partner. Do you want to challenge me or him?" Leah tilted his head. Elvis was standing behind him with a black face and a murderous aura. Chapter 1397. What? Do you feel regretful? Leah glanced sideways at her, the smile on his face changing. It was filled with a strong warning. If you dare to say you feel regretful, you are dead meat. Before Gu Mingming could say anything, the 7 wolves from Sandy's family all knelt on the ground. This made Gu Mingming dumbfounded. The words she wanted to explain were stuck at the tip of her tongue as she stared at Elvis and Leah in bewilderment. Sandy gave Gu Mingming a push and smiled. "Don't you know how jealous these 2 in your family are? Hurry up and coax them or bring out your female prowess." Gu Mingming facepalmed. "What female prowess? Don't you know I am a coward?" Sandy also smiled. "If you are a coward, hurry up and coax them. If you don't, Hodgson and the rest will not be able to hold on any longer." Gu Mingming smiled helplessly and shook her head. She held on to Leah with one hand and Elvis with the other. She smiled. "Why are you scaring Sandy's partners? They have never confessed to me. Moreover, coaxing the 2 of you is enough for me. Why would I have the time to invite another troublemaker back? Do you think your life is too comfortable?" Elvis retracted his aura and the 7 wolves finally stood up. Colin carried Sandy and said, "Let's go out and get some sunlight. You can't always hide in the house. At most, we will cover you up and prevent him from seeing you or you from seeing him. How about that?" Colin had protected Gu Mingming before and he knew that this was the time to hide. Although in the beast world, with their hearing, they could still hear their conversation no matter how far they hid, but Gu Mingming was a prideful person. She still had to do such things. Sandy nodded, and Hodgson took out 3 thick animal skins and laid them outside the cave. Bode took out some of Sandy's favorite fruits and placed them on the animal skins. After Hodgson carried Sandy out and placed her on the animal skin, the males lined up and formed a human barrier around Sandy. After Sandy's family left, Elvis and Leah finally put Gu Mingming down. Both of their expressions did not look too good as they pursed their lips and did not say a word. Gu Mingming looked at the 2 of them communicating with their eyes in front of her, as though they were using Morse code to communicate with each other. She looked at them in a daze the entire time, not knowing what was wrong with them. Wasn't everything fine when he arrived? Originally, they were talking about Arnold's pursuit of Sandy, but she didn't know how it ended up involving her. But she also said that she had no intention of finding a new partner, so why did the 2 of them still look constipated? The 2 of them exchanged glances for a long time before Leah finally spoke. He sat upright in front of Gu Mingming and asked, "Mingming, actually, you?" Gu Mingming just looked at Leah, waiting for him to say something. But when the words were at the tip of her tongue, they seemed to be extremely difficult to say. Even someone as eloquent as Leah could not say anything. Gu Mingming waited for a long time, but seeing that Leah still could not say anything, she took the initiative to ask, "What about me?" Leah frowned slightly and looked at Gu Mingming with a pair of deep and indescribable heaviness. He asked, "Do you not like Elvis and me anymore?" Gu Mingming was dumbfounded. She shook her head like a rattled drum. "Who said that? How can it be? You are my men. If I don't like you, who should I like?" Chapter 1398. No, I really didn't." Gu Mingming waved her hands in denial. Leah smiled bitterly. He was hoping for her to deny it, but when she really denied it, he did not believe her. Normally, a female would take in 5 to 10 new males every year. Other than the first partner, she would eat 2 to 3 during winter and 4 to 5 would die during normal battles. In this way, the total number of members in the family would not change, but the males would always be new. Leah sighed and continued, the number of males in our family is originally less than others. You know how to store food so you don't need to eat your partners during winter. Elvis and I are the more tenacious type and would not die easily in battle. So, you have already been in the beast world for 4 years. According to other family situation, you should have already had 20 to 40 partners. Just hearing this number made Gu Mingming's scalp go numb. Somehow, she thought of the scene of Sandy mating with Hodgson and Jerry. 2 males were enough to keep a female bear like Sandy in bed for 7 days. What the hell? Gu Mingming felt that she might die in bed with 20 to 40 partners. Until now, she still could not feed the 2 males in her family. Every time she brewed, she would beg them to be gentler and take pity on her. And they did feel sorry for her. After that, the 2 of them did not torture her anymore. But even if one of them was especially restrained, she would still faint every single time. 20 to 40. Just thinking about it made Gu Mingming's legs turn to jelly. One of Li's arms was held by Gu Mingming, so he used his other hand to hold Gu Mingming's little hand that was on his arm. He continued, with Elvis and me keeping watch, the number of males who dare to confess and woo you is far more than this. Without the 2 of us, you would definitely be more popular. There would be an endless stream of males around you, bringing you different kinds of joy and joy. Every day there would be fresh faces trying their best to cater to you and please you, unlike now where you can only face me and Elvis every day. Leah held Gu Mingming's hand and placed it on his face. He tried his best to smile but looked very sad. His voice was slightly trembling and his eyes were filled with uneasiness. This face, do you still like it? Can it still attract your attention? I like it, of course I like it, Gu Mingming answered hurriedly. Did she really not know what had happened to Elvis and Leah? Suddenly his mood was so low. Could it be that even males were in a bad mood for a few days a month? But how long has it been since you last blushed when looking at me? Your eyes will no longer reveal that kind of infatuation when you look at me. Leah lowered his eyelids, his long eyelashes forming a shadow under his eyes, concealing most of his expression. Once upon a time, as long as I appeared in the crowd, you would see me at one glance and your eyes would never leave me. But now I'm always by your side, yet you rarely look at me. That's right, no matter how beautiful a face is, after looking at it for 4 years, one should be tired of it. I'm not like Elvis, your first partner, and the mark is not on your heart. It's also possible that you're sick of me. Chapter 1399. Gu Mingming felt wronged. She did not want to find a new partner. Leah held onto her hand, his fingertips trembling. He appeared to be very careful as he begged, not only that, I will change all the things you don't like. I will never threaten you again. I will support you in whatever you want to do. In the future, if there are males pursuing you, I will also not be a hindrance. Don't abandon me, alright? It's alright even if I don't get favored. It's alright even if I don't have my current status in the family. I don't care about anything. As long as I can see you again, I will be satisfied, alright? Gu Mingming rubbed her head, looking at Leah in a daze, asking, did you take the wrong medicine? What are you talking about? When did I want to find a new partner? When did I say I want to abandon you? What are you talking about? Leah lowered his head, replying, you already think that Elvis and I are trouble, don't you? Leah laughed self-deprecatingly, not daring to look into Gu Mingming's eyes. His gaze drifted to the side, muttering in a low voice, yeah, which male dares to be so brazen in front of females? You treated me too well in the past, causing me to forget myself. It's normal for you to be sick of me. I'm not sick of you. Gu Mingming held onto Li's shoulders, roaring angrily, can you be more normal? What's going on? Your sudden pretentiousness is making me very confused. You clearly said, find another trouble, just now. Doesn't that mean that Elvis and I are already trouble in your eyes? Li's gaze dimmed, obviously hurt. Gu Mingming smacked her head, feeling rather speechless. Sighing, she looked at Elvis, asking, you two were making eye contact in front of me just now, and this is the result of your communication? Elvis hesitated for a moment, but still nodded honestly. Gu Mingming was so angry that she wanted to laugh. She thought that only females would be so sensitive, getting into a dead end because of an unintentional sentence, but it turned out that males could do it too. Gu Mingming simply sat cross-legged by the bed, looking at Elvis and Leah, saying, tell me, did the two of you suffer from some trauma recently? Our family has always been like this. We've been living well for the past 4 years. I don't believe that nothing happened. You two suddenly became pretentious. Did he hear something or did he see something? Cole instigated the two of you? Gu Mingming thought about all the possibilities and asked them one by one. Elvis remained silent and Leah also pursed his lips without saying a word. However, his gaze could not help but drift towards the door and look at Sandy who was sitting there. Gu Mingming was confused. What? Did Sandy scold you? Leah shook his head and tried to pull Gu Mingming's little hand. Seeing that she did not resist, he then pulled her into his arms and hugged her gently. He rested his chin on the top of Gu Mingming's head and said, "Ever since Sandy tamed those 7 wolf beasts, Elvis and I felt that something was wrong." Gu Mingming thought about it but could not understand. Thus, he could only open his mouth and ask, "What does it have to do with you two that he's taking in a new partner? What, you two want to cheat on me and hook up with my best friend?" Leah clenched his teeth and wanted to poke Gu Mingming's head and scold her for being heartless. But he swallowed his words back and his hand stopped in front of Gu Mingming's forehead. He sighed and put his hand back. He just lowered his eyes and said, "Do you still remember Bode's and Colin's reactions on the day Sandy took in a new partner?" Gu Mingming thought about it and shook her head. "What reactions did they have? It was too crowded that day and I did not notice, there didn't seem to be any reactions. Aside from the topic, alright my babies, this is the last chapter of the explosive chapter. The first day was free, the second day 130 chapters, the third and fourth day 50 chapters each. Su's explosive chapter was considered to be very sincere, right? So, can Su be bold and confident when she says she wants the monthly votes for this round? Chapter 1400. Yes, there was no reaction. One is the first partner and the other has a mark on his heart. These two people watched as Sandy took in 7 new partners and did nothing. They did not even show any signs of unhappiness. Leah chuckled and looked down at Gu Mingming who was in his arms. "Say, if it was me and Elvis, what would happen?" Gu Mingming smiled without thinking. "You would definitely explode, right? If the two of you knew that I went through a marriage to maintain the stability of the tribe, you would probably crush the tribe into pieces and say to me, 'Alright, the tribe is gone, there's no need to maintain stability anymore.' That should be the case, right?" Gu Mingming mimicked Elvis and Lee's exploding behavior. She felt that she was rather comical and could not stop giggling. But Leah and Elvis could not bring themselves to laugh. They nodded. "Yeah, we might really do that." The atmosphere was so awkward that Gu Mingming could not laugh anymore. She pursed her lips and asked, "So, what are you trying to say?" Leah said, "Elvis and Bode are both first partners. If you really like him, he will force himself to accept the newbie you choose. But if you don't like him and have no other choice but to mate with him, he would rather die than to let the male you don't like enter the house." Colin's mark was imprinted on Sandy's chest. He was the man that Sandy had loved for many years. Before Hodgson and Sandy had become partners, he had been the strongest member of Sandy's family. He was also the male who loved his beast the most. If he tried to stop Sandy from marrying a wolf beast, Sandy would definitely not ignore his objections and insist on accepting a new partner. But we talked to Bode and Colin a few days before Sandy became partners with the wolf beast. We asked them why they did not stop it from the start. Can you guess what they said? Gu Mingming tilted her head. Actually, she wanted to ask too. Even she had tried to persuade Sandy not to force herself to marry a wolf beast, but Bode and Colin did not say a single word. This was very strange. If Gu Mingming did not know how Bode and Colin felt towards Sandy, she would have suspected that they did not love Sandy. Leah said, "They said that Sandy is a female." Gu Mingming asked, "And then?" Leah shook his head and said, "There are only these 5 words, Sandy is female." Gu Mingming's face was filled with question marks, as if she could not keep up with the rhythm. Leah sighed and said, "The female is the head of the household. No matter what she wants to do, the male should not interfere and can only obey. Not only did Elvis and I question your decision, we even criticized you. Even with Colin's mark on Sandy's heart, he did not dare to criticize Sandy, afraid that he would lose her favor. As for me..." Lee's gaze landed on Gu Mingming's ears. Then he laughed and said, "How gutsy must I be to dare to scare you, threaten you, force you to do things you don't like without any scruples, and even watch as you turn around to coax me as if it was a matter of course? Being spoiled and arrogant is a very dangerous thing. When you like me, you'll naturally do whatever I say. But if one day you're annoyed by me, then tell me, what am I?" Gu Mingming finally understood. These two suddenly felt a sense of crisis because of Sandy's mating. Chapter 1401. I like how the two of you protect me, control me, consider everything for me and make the most beneficial decision for me. Gu Mingming hugged Li's neck and looked straight into his eyes. She smiled. Other people are other people and we are us. I don't like the idea of men being superior to women and I don't like the idea of women being superior to men. We are husband and wife and have the same status in the family. We have the same right to speak. So if I can be jealous of Miranda and forbid her from getting close to you, why can't you be jealous of other males getting close to me? As for the threats, you're too serious. Even if you say something to scare me sometimes, it's just talk. You've never really done anything to hurt me, right? That's why those threats have no effect on me at all. They can't make me afraid. I'll give in, not because I'm afraid of your threats, but because I know that since you've threatened me, it means that you don't like it. I don't want to make you unhappy, so I'm pretending to be threatened by you. In my place, this is called flirting. It's a form of fun. How did it become a heinous crime that cannot be forgiven by the heavens? Really? Leah didn't seem to believe her. He added on. The males at your place will also threaten females? Gu Mingming nodded with a smile. Yeah, they will often say things like, if you dare to give your number to any guy who flirts with you, I will break his leg, or, if you dare to leave me, I will kill you. It's very common. Leah frowned. He hugged Gu Mingming tightly. I won't break your leg or kill you. I can't bear to do it. Gu Mingming smiled and kissed the side of Li's face. Of course I know you can't bear to do it. The two of you thought I was going to die when I had a nosebleed. You were so nervous, how could you domestic abuse me? The guy who said those words would not really break the girl's legs, nor would he really kill her. They were just using a more violent way to tell the girl that they really mind her giving her number to strangers. They really don't want to hear her break up. Usually the girl just needs to act cute and say, I know I was wrong. I won't dare to do it again. Then everything will be fine. Who would abandon their partner because of such words? Leah hugged Gu Mingming tightly in his arms and said in a deep voice, Mingming, I was abandoned by you before, so I know how painful that feeling is. How happy I am with you, how painful it is to leave you. After mating, I'm more than 100 times happier than when I was in a light relationship with you. So, if one day you're tired of me, Mingming, I won't be able to withstand your second abandonment. I really won't be able to endure it. Gu Mingming hugged Leah back gently and said, What silly things are you saying? I won't abandon you. Even though you and Elvis always call me a liar, at least I won't go back on my word on this matter. Leah nodded. As long as you don't regret this, everything else doesn't matter. Good for nothing. Gu Mingming smiled and shook her head. Then she pushed Leah away, creating a distance between them. She tilted her head and asked, Is it okay now? Let's not be pretentious, okay? We're still at Sandy's house right now, and the owner of the house can't even go back because of us. Chapter 1402. After comforting Leah, Gu Mingming turned to look at Elvis and asked, Hubby, do you also think that I will abandon you? Elvis struggled internally, but he still nodded his head in the end. After Sandy mated, I gathered all the first partners in the wolf tribe. After asking around, I realized that there was indeed no one like me who would stop a female from taking on a new partner. It was also the first time that a family did not have a new member for 4 years. I came from the stray beasts and am naturally more selfish than others. Moreover, I have nothing, only you. Because you are everything, I am more afraid of losing. After seeing Leah panicking, Elvis was naturally affected and became uneasy. Today, Sandy had unintentionally said, Admit defeat or show off your might as a female? It was as if a lightning bolt had struck their hearts, breaking the tightest thread in their hearts. So, even outsiders could see that they had often forced Gu Mingming to admit defeat. Were they the only ones who did not know that they had already reached such a stage? Hence, the two of them exchanged glances and reminisced about the past. The more they thought about it, the more shocked they became. In the end, they even felt that it was reasonable for Gu Mingming to make the decision to abandon them now. Gu Mingming came out from Li's arms and held Elvis's face with both hands. She took the initiative to cover Elvis's lips but did not go deep. After a long while, Gu Mingming finally moved her lips away and said with a smile, Hubby, did you forget something important? Elvis did not understand. Gu Mingming said, I originally did not belong here. When I came, I had nothing other than that set of bikinis. I was the one who truly had nothing. Wasn't it you who connected me to this world? Before I was around, you were already the leader of Saint Nazir. You and Leah were both famous warriors and no one dared to be impudent in front of you. I still remember when I first arrived at Saint Nazir, you gave everyone a cold stare and everyone was so scared that they did not dare to speak. At that time I was thinking, I have to cling onto this thigh tightly or else I will not be able to survive in the beast world. Gu Mingming changed her position and nestled herself into Elvis's arms. Her back pressed against his chest and her head rested on his shoulder. She tilted her head to look at Elvis and said, "After that, you really covered for me. When I used my power to bully others, you stood on my side without even asking if it was right or wrong. When I was upset because of Leah, I even said that I wanted to banish Nina, but you supported me unconditionally without even thinking about it. You always put me first and prioritized me in everything. Moreover, ever since we became partners, these two legs of mine have almost never walked. No matter far or near, you always carry me. You've spoiled me to the point where I can't even take care of myself. If I were to leave you, I might not even be able to survive a day." Gu Mingming wrapped her arms around Elvis's neck and kissed his chin lightly with her lips. She smiled sweetly and said, "You have already fused into my life. You are my entire world. If I leave you, I won't have a place to live." Elvis hugged Gu Mingming tightly and nodded without saying a word. Chapter 1403. The beast deity had once said that once the 7 treasures were gathered, the doors of time and space would open. What if Gu Mingming wanted to leave them and go over to Snake's side? Perhaps it was because he had been so thoroughly defeated by Snake that even though he was the Wolf King now, he had no confidence when facing Snake. Snake's words so weak, when he carried Gu Mingming back was like a knife stabbing into his heart, forcing him to fight again and again to become stronger. But even if he was strong enough to look down on the entire beast world, he did not have a single chance to win against Snake. If the 7 treasures were really gathered and he lost to Snake again, this was the real reason why he and Leah were uneasy. And he and Leah would not tell Gu Mingming all these. They could not say it and did not dare to say it, afraid that they would hear an answer they did not want to know. They were even more afraid that she would suddenly go back on her words after agreeing to stay. In this lifetime, this was probably the only thing he was afraid of, being cheated by her. Gu Mingming did not know what Elvis was thinking. She thought that Leah had already said everything. Now that he had explained everything, the two of them shouldn't let their imaginations run wild anymore. Thus, he felt relieved and said, "It's not good for us to overtake the host like this. Besides, I'm here to play with Sandy. If there's anything else, let's talk when we get home, alright?" Elvis and Leah nodded and did not say anything else. Elvis carried Gu Mingming out of the house and saw Sandy giggling with a profound expression. Waving his hands, he said, "Alright, I know you can't control them at all. In the end, you still have to coax them. I'm already used to it and won't laugh at you, so don't be awkward." Gu Mingming felt even more awkward after hearing her words. She sat beside Sandy and pinched her, saying, "What's wrong with coaxing our own men? They already have so many things to deal with outside. If even I bully them, wouldn't their lives be too miserable?" Sandy pointed at Elvis and then at Leah, asking with a smile, "Them? Miserable? Haha, the only person in this world who can make them miserable is you. Aside from your intermittent spasms that force them to be helpless, I've never seen anyone else who can control them." Gu Mingming wrinkled her nose and smiled. Then she used her chin to point at Arnold, who was looking at Sandy affectionately. "What about that? What are you going to do? I can't be a door god every day." Sandy sighed, "What else can we do? She didn't enter my territory, so my males don't have the right to expel her. She didn't confess to me, so I couldn't reject her. People can stand in the public area and watch the wind, rain and sun. Why should I say that people are looking at me? And even if I really did see it, why wouldn't I let them see it? Sigh, there's nothing I can do." Gu Mingming held her chin and looked at Arnold, then back at Leah. Smiling, she said, "Although he's not as good as my husband, he still looks like a good guy. You really won't consider taking him in?" Sandy looked at Hodgson and whispered, "If I take him in, my family situation will be more lively than the entire solder. Just let me live for a few more days." Gu Mingming laughed and said, "Then if you don't want to, I'll think of a way to stop him from thinking about you." Gregory is staying in solder. When the time is right, he will bring me to the Moda Mountains to retrieve the love of the sky. Without that thing, my Lord Fox wouldn't let me get pregnant. Sandy pouted her lips and said with an ugly expression, "Can that Birdman be trusted? Previously, he said that he didn't like you and kept looking for trouble with you. TSK, he wouldn't throw you down halfway, would he?" You're tuning in to the Han Lee's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.